Chris.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space.
Oh, it's good,
As
man.
you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait,
Sunday,
is this
which
sci-fi? I
kind of
thought
stinks,
we agreed on a
but,
World
you
War
know,
II campaign. Oh,
lost an hour's sleep, but
Did
we're
we?
okay.
that's cool. I can pivot. The smell of
See.
smoke curdles in your nostrils.
Hold
up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. All right, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, 3 strangers will meet in a dim bar. A veteran zombie slayer, a disgraced general out for revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plants. Now describe your characters. How did you do that? I have the right tools for the job.
Whew. Sunday night. Start shoving these out. Hey, Gargoyle, thank you. Just getting started here. Hey, Greenwood on tonight. Thank you very much.
A story once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous.
Whew.
The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness, the mad mage is stirring.
More Ed, man.
From countless voices,
Got it.
the castle takes shape.
More Ed.
Zagig will test.
It's the beginning of a lot of Ed coming up, right?
Those unlucky will
Gary
never
Con.
escape.
Oh, Miss Vamp. Can never get enough of that. Exactly, man. Here comes Anna.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape
Hey.
3D. Today
Hello.
we're going to do
Ed should be on
speed
any
paint
minute.
of
Okay.
one of our little
Good.
peasant
Yeah.
houses to show how
We're
easy
good.
these things are to paint. Here's the peasant house I have to paint today. It has been primered black.
Rock and roll.
Okay, so we're all ready to go. So I got about 3 minutes into it so far. We got the base.
That's a
we got
weekend
the
bid.
roof, and then we have a few
Okay,
smaller
yeah, I was out
components.
hiking today. It was wonderful.
We have,
No, that's
Wea-
nice.
Weather is
clapboards here
absolutely
from the
gorgeous
loft.
here.
Good.
And I took
And then I
Chico with
got-
me, so he's completely dead now. Yeah.
Little
He's been chasing squirrels and digging out gopher nests and all sorts
Good
of
for
fun
him.
stuff.
Have a
Yeah,
hood for
mhm.
the flue up on the roof.
Awesome.
This could be resin printed or FDM.
Very
printed.
cool.
And then lastly,
All right. I am all good to
we
go.
have
I think.
a little ragtag
Hey,
door to
Darko.
put on the front with a filament hinge. All right. In terms of prepping the models, sometimes these little holes where the filament's supposed to run through can get clogged up on your resin doors. Sometimes the resin will just settle in there when it's washing out and kind of harden. Sometimes with these doors, it might just be a little
Hey,
off.
Chantel, I haven't seen you around in a while.
And when you clean
Hello.
out, if you
Waiting for
do,
Ed to get on.
you can use a drill bit. 5/64 is the
Oh,
size you
Ed,
need
tonight.
to clean out
Get me,
those holes. So if I have a door there, I might
hit
just
that. Controller Games giveaway start up good.
So we got those holes cleaned out. Should be plenty of room now. For
All good.
filament, and we will continue on. All right, the first thing I'm going to be doing is applying brown onto the timber frames.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to use a pretty good sized brush.
Hey, Brutal.
I don't care
There
about
comes
getting brown
Ed.
everywhere for this first part.
Woo! There, Ed? It's pictureless.
He's coming.
Those damn settings. Ha!
Hi!
Hello.
Hey!
Hi, everybody!
Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. Ta-da!
So are you getting ready for Gary Con?
In my
Oh, that's
spare
a whole
time.
2 weeks, so it's like an eternity. Yeah.
Yes, it's an eternity. Although, yes, I did print out my Fate of the Nords adventure today.
Oh.
I must write the Realms adventure before I go.
Yeah.
I have 40 character sheets to print out. Because I'm running. Yeah, because of course I can't. I'm an OCD boy, so I'm running Tower Gygax this year, Ed, and I can't. I'm using my own characters. I'm using terrain and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not using the pre-gens. I'm using my own.
Yep.
So it's like, well, you better have at least a dozen of them. So,
Yep.
yeah, so.
I'm going to send out my pre-gens to my players tonight. That's the
Oh,
plan. Yep.
okay, so for my Tower of Gygax, what? If we use the pre-gens, we don't have to provide them?
Yeah, for Tower Gygax, they have their own.
Oh, that's how
package.
they help the package.
Yeah.
You only have to sit there and fill the
There's
characters.
Kurt.
Yeah,
The
hand out
coordinator
the
that's
character
on now,
sheets.
Curtis. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then just throw monsters at them until the characters die. That's the. That's
Yes,
the
you
idea.
did hear Tower Gygax, Curtis. Yeah. So Ed, after this, you can give us a couple minutes after. We got to talk about our seminar.
Sure. Yes.
And
yes.
and the talk show with something special with that this year. The
Oh.
Wednesday night talk show. Yeah.
Wednesday night talk show.
Yeah. Remember the one that you were in all 3 sessions. You were 2-3 in the club Wednesday night.
Oh yeah, when Jay has the.
Remember you were
he's-
massaging William Henry IV's back.
He's having court at that table in the.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You came in session 2 and you stayed 2, 3, and 4, all of them. So.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's highlighted on the Twitch front page this year.
Oh, Wednesday night, eh?
Yeah.
When Wednesday night?
You can't be that big. What do you got going on Wednesday?
Just badge pickup and the welcome party, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but badge pickup's VIP. So you can go right in at 4.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
do
so
that.
so we start at 6 and we go to 9. So you come in whenever you want. You can leave whenever you want. You can stay the whole time. You're special.
Oh boy, okay.
Yes.
When and where do I find you?
What's that?
When
At the
and where?
table in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
like
we'll be at the
the,
club at the same. Remember that big table, the wood
Jay
table?
sits there. He owns that for the whole convention. Apparently.
I'll remind you. I'll bring a picture up from
it's so cool.
from that. I'll bring a picture
Yep.
up.
Oh, so that's Evoke, that one?
No,
In
the
the bar?
small clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. We'll bring up a picture right now, and we'll share that with Ed so he knows where we're going, because that was a great time last year. Here, give me a second. GaryCon 2024 picks. Let's see. Which one do I have? Here, this is in the. There it is. There's you at the club. There. Massaging
Ooh,
William Henry
so-
DeRoy's back and
okay.
Bird sitting there.
So
Yep.
they'll have to let me into the Geneva.
Oh,
good.
Yeah.
Jay lets anyone in.
Yeah, there we go. There's another good pick. Here.
Good. Got it. Okay. I
Yes,
know
that-
where we are now.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
Yep,
it.
mhm.
Yes. So it's gonna
Oh
be
yes.
it's gonna be a fun one this year as we have we're on the front page of Twitch for it. So last time I was on the front page of Twitch, I had 2,000 people watching. So
Oh, good.
exciting.
Well,
Hey,
we'll do
Coco.
the thing.
Yeah,
I'll keep my clothes on.
yeah. Well, that's okay. As long as you can. There's a lot of things you can do and can't do, but you can have your clothes on as long as you can have your pants off as long as you sit that case seated, right? All right, I'm not
Oh,
starting.
On whom?
That's
No.
right. That's exactly right. We'll have a lot of the usual suspects and some other guests in for that, so that'll be
Okay.
talking it all. Yes, but we'll talk about that in our seminar afterwards.
Sure.
So let me go back to the main screen here. It's gonna be a blast. So Coco says hi, by the way.
Hi, Coco.
Yep. So I have been working. Haven't gotten them all done yet. I'm down to Ed's game. So 6 characters are known to Ed. And by the way, I hope Genghis Khan was real good. It was a good time.
I couldn't make it. I had COVID, so I had to stay home.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
So instead, I got a lot of writing done. So I owe
Mhm.
Elphinius Goo an attendance next year.
Oh
so
my
he can do
gosh.
everything. Yeah.
If I had known that, I would have gotten you on the fundraiser.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I didn't know till the last minute.
Oh
and-
my
and
gosh,
then,
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Oh,
and then,
that
of course,
stinks.
all the family wanted to come visit, and I had to keep saying, "No, you can't come. You
No.
can't come. I got
Oh
COVID."
man, did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We raised
Oh, yeah.
We raised $32,000 this year.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
We
Good,
smashed
good,
our
good.
old record by $6,000. So, but that is so we got a lot of fun stuff coming up, man, including the Deadly Challenge at GaryCon Saturday morning. As someone's not happy with Robert Lantar because he's too big for his britches, right?
Well, he's been too big for his britches for a long time, which is why he stopped wearing britches and went to these robes.
No, we got and from the crew we got Eric Mengi playing, we got Tony and Jeremy playing, right? So
Okay.
we got Darling playing. Yeah, we got a great group for this one, and so looking forward to it at GaryCon. So all right, thanks for coming on. As we're going to talk legends, myths, and creatures of Greyhawk and the Realms.
Oh my! I must get rid of these unsightly
Oh, that's okay.
plastic coat hangers.
Look at the mess
There we-
this room is. I mean,
Well, yeah, there
me
you
not
go.
being able
How's
to bend
that?
over or anything. Yeah, it's really rough. So.
Oh no, that's different, Jay. Than messy.
Sorry,
That's a matter of
bitches, man.
surgery.
Hey, Rob. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true. And that's my first surgery is a week and a half after GaryCon, so April 3rd, first hip replacement. Ah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay. Well, you only have 2 hips,
right, exactly.
and how old are you now?
I turned 58 yesterday.
So they're supposed to last 25 years if you behave.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like skydive and
I've
crap
never
like that.
behaved in my life, and mine
The new-
still work. So yeah. Mhm.
According to my orthopedic surgeon,
Yeah.
the new ceramic ones last even longer.
Oh,
Oh, good.
okay. Well, in that case, you shouldn't need a second hip replacement on any hip replacement you get done now, unless you're going to push beyond 140 years old.
Yes, but it's highly doubtful.
Yeah,
The rate I'm
so-
going. The rate I'm going, it's highly doubtful. What's up, JR? Yeah. So, but I got to get it done. It's one of
Yeah,
those things.
I hear you.
Got to get it done.
I know that feeling, the pain, the lack of mobility, all the things you used to do when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
And you watch somebody do them on a movie now, and you go, "Oh, that hurts!" Just watching.
I know it does.
And you're not even doing it.
I can't watch those crashing or falling Instagram vids and all those. All those. I can't do it because I'm like, oh my god, that looks like it hurts. So
Yeah.
yeah. But Ed, they're giving me a drive cart right at GaryCon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they are. So I'm gonna play it up, of course. I know I'm gonna get my stones busted. So I actually got a flag for it.
Oh.
I'm gonna have.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Well, if you're gonna do it, you might as well.
I might as well go all in, right?
Do it.
So there
do
you
it
go.
in style. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a flag. I just got to figure out how to pull. Thanks, Gargamel. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if other people want to give me stuff to put on it, as long as I don't damage it, I guess, because I don't know which. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what to put on it. Bloodstains.
Yeah, well, I may run someone over.
We have to use perma markers and sign
Yeah.
it and all that. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll run Coco over after she said during the game when she made yesterday we had a birthday stream, and her character was negotiating right in the middle of a big fight with a purple dragon, and they were in a freet, and the freet says, "Look, let me go, and you can have the last wish," and of course I'm going to warp it, right? So she made the wish that when anyone gets down to 0 hit points, they get put back to total, right? Well, I thought was good, but it got warped. So yeah, if you get back down to 0, yes, but if you're putting in negatives, right, right? She said to 0. She didn't say dead, or she said to 0 hit points.
Oh dear.
And she's like, sometimes I hate you so much. It was great, but that's okay. We had fun.
Oh,
Right?
I mean, okay, but okay. Let me play devil's advocate for a moment.
Right.
Coco is a nice person.
I know, but no one died.
So she's not thinking like a lawyer.
I understand that, but the freed is.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing. When you cast a wish spell, you must turn off your normal brain, put on your cold calculating. How can someone twist this? And then you have to speak or plan accordingly.
Exactly. That was all I did.
I used to say my wish spells, and the dungeon master would say, "Are you finished?" Because it would be 6 or 7 minutes of ancillary clauses as I covered everything.
But when you get a ring of wishes, that's one thing. But when you have someone who's granting it to you, they can really twist it, and that was the whole. But it was okay.
So how many words can you put in a wish?
As long as you
is
use a
it a
conjunctive,
time
an and or an or, you can go on forever.
Yeah,
Okay.
go on forever, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you took 2 hands today, Tim. So the purple dragon ripped Stronghold Tim's character, Tim Detrulli's hand off, put him down, and I felt bad for it. Put him down dead, but he popped right back up because of the wish. So I didn't enforce it. But he didn't get his hand back. He came back to life, but he did not get his hand back. See, there you go. That was the warping of the wish I did.
Unhand me, you
Yes,
worm.
yes, but that was part of the fun. So we had a good time. Yeah, it's good to see it too, Tim. And Tim will be at GaryCon. Everyone's going to be at GaryCon. Everyone's going to be at GaryCon this year. It's going to be awesome.
Well, except Eric Boyd can't make it.
But he's already messaged me in the Discord. Are you going to page 3? Right, Anna? I said, it's January next year, dude. It's only March, man.
Well, you could just create your events. I got that email today.
Yeah, I just got it like 10 minutes ago. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, I saw it now
Yeah,
before we started. So, yeah.
And I promised Phil Ward I'd talk to him to see if I can get you to go next year.
Get me to go.
Yeah, in Philly.
It was a good one.
Philly,
Next
in
January.
Yeah, it's cold and snowy, but you should be used to it.
I
so, yeah.
have this job, day job, and it's a public service day
I understand
job.
that,
They
Ed.
expect me to show up.
Well, I think that they would compensate.
Well, it's not a question of money. It's a question of I am one more horn-rimmed glasses, buxom library lady who looks suddenly dotty sitting at the desk, and my fellow buxom, dotty, horn-rimmed glasses library ladies expect me to be at the desk. They won't look at an empty chair and say, "Oh yes, Ed's in Philly." They'll say, "Where's Ed? The library is open."
Exactly. Look at Bill. Bill and Master Crafter busted my stones. You need to go part-time like Jay.
Yeah.
I'm not part-time. All right, let's so legends, myth, and creatures. This can go anywhere. We're gonna have fun with this.
Hopefully everywhere.
Talk it
not
all
at
over.
once.
I know. I haven't even told anyone what Ed's going to bring to the plate tonight. I've been saving it for this discussion. But it's going to be pretty cool. So, how does one, Ed, come up with? I want to not just create. Oh, there's a rumor, but I want to create a true legend in my game setting. What do you do?
Okay. Don't do what I just did to create these. Okay.
Right.
So let me give you the template.
Yeah,
The
sure.
template is, what does my setting most need?
Okay.
What is missing? So let us assume that you are of a family that loves to eat lots of food. And when you get together for holiday meals, in my case, it was maiden aunts who were scurrying back out to the kitchen to get more pickles, scurrying out to the kitchen to get pickled herring or something like that, that most of the family wouldn't eat. But they were all gathered here, so now it was time to empty the larder. Okay? Same thing. You look across your setting and say, what is missing from the daily play?
Okay.
Now, what would imperil the setting in a slow background menace way? Not the thing we see too often in Hollywood movies. The fate of the world hangs in the balance, and
Right,
your
right.
puny heroes are here. They can't possibly defeat the Dark Lord, but you know going in they're going to, because there has to be a tomorrow. So you don't want to push the stakes there. But you do want to say, uh-oh, it would be a bad thing if the Horn Society started to rule in 4 or 5 other kingdoms, and the Pomarge had a population explosion, and various necromancers and liches started putting undead armies on the march, and the Free City of Greyhawk had to deal with all of them at once. Oh boy, we're going to have an interesting season or two. That's the sort of I'm dramatizing.
You're
I'm
sure,
hamming
sure.
it up.
We live in the time that doesn't even sound dramatic. So please go
True.
on, Ed.
Yeah, true.
So I would say 30 years ago everything sounded unbelievable. Now fantasy, we need to beef up our game here. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, you put some
Yeah.
slow perils on
Mhm.
the horizon,
Yep.
and you tie your legend to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you also make sure the legend isn't a simple thing of, for whosoever draws the sword from the stone
No.
shall henceforth, because that's a single thing.
Yeah,
And
you
the
need to
only
create that slippery slope that the characters
Yeah.
realize that we are on that slippery slope, and it's not about climbing up, it's about getting the whole
Yeah.
the whole existence to not be slippery and leaning towards some
Yeah, and there have
miserable
to be
end.
there have to
Yeah.
be steps or stages.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you screw up a step or stage, there
Yeah,
has to be a
then
way around.
the angle increases a bit and it gets even
Right.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but in the same way that your teachers, if you were going for higher education, would say, well, you can't take this or go into med school until you've done that.
Yep.
Well, what if you made the wrong decision 3 years ago when you were
Mhm.
a pie-eyed teenager?
Yep.
Right.
Well, there's another way to med school, but it's longer and you have to go around sideways or whatever.
Yep.
So you put in steps, because then it isn't over just once, or it isn't the let's improbably catapult, like maybe literally catapult our party member to the steps of the empty throne, and then
Yep.
he can touch the empty throne with the scepter of Zoblob,
Mhm.
and the world will
And
be unmade.
yeah. And also that there's so many well-wishing NPCs and others urging you to do this or that, and then afterwards you realize that that didn't do it better. That made it worse, so to speak.
Yeah, but those are the ways you tie a legend into the existing lore of the world.
Yep.
So that everybody involved, if they don't understand the stakes, they get a good idea of the stakes.
Yep.
And then you make sure there's a mystery or a trick somewhere early on, because then it's nailed down for everybody going in. You can't always trust what's in front of you. This isn't a simple matter of marching through battle after battle and making sure we get a long rest or go home and replenish our healing potions
Long rest.
and then come back. You know, in other words, it isn't a logistical thing. You know, you will hear guys who are into modern military strategy, as opposed to the old military strategy was point the mob this way. The modern military strategy is all about, okay, do we have 3-to-1 or greater superiority to the enemy on the ground at this map reference? Right, where is our backups? How quickly can our reinforcements get to us? That sort of thing. And of course, the British way of saying that was, the British Army fights all of its battles in the pouring rain on a steep hillside where 2 maps meet.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they were making their empire and not really good at mapping,
Yep.
that turned out to be the case over and over and
Yeah, they were the
over
worst
again.
compared to all the other ones.
It's like the Russians never invade when the weather is good. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So You
Yep.
put all these things together and you make it something where there are opportunities for reflection, for thought
Yeah,
to
that's a
change.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah, your
You need the
strategies.
players to because you need to instill the fear, and the players need to do that on themselves. That's why you need some boredom, some reflection, and some what the heck do we do now kind of moment. And
Yeah,
yeah.
a
Hmm.
war council. Even in the
Yep.
war council, even if it's around a campfire or over the body of the
Hmm.
king,
Yep.
um, in the pouring rain. But
Yep.
ideally in the movies, it's always around a big table.
Yep.
In some,
And also it's something that if the players initiate it, even better. If they get started talking about it themselves, perfect. Don't try to cut it. Don't try to rush the things forward. Just sit, enjoy, take notes as a DM.
Sure, because things can happen like this, and Curtis is on here. You can take the anti-hero can appear, for example. You could take a hated character and with what has happened and transpired with someone playing it, turn that character into a legendary anti-hero locally though, right? Things like that can happen. Yeah, see, as Curtis agrees with me
And
for once. Yes, so
yeah. And you
or
need some. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, I was just going to say, or do the blacklist thing, where
right.
the died villain, you have to work with them because they have the key, or they are threatened, and they will turn around and say, "We are mortal enemies, but I think we can work together on this."
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there waiting for the double cross. When is the double cross coming?
Yeah, and
And
you
it,
need
That's it.
some good sacrificial lambs, so to speak. You need good guys to sacrifice for the good of the story. So therefore you need
That's
the party needs to know good ones that especially powerful ones that you can kill, because that way that will scare the bejesus out of the characters too, so to speak, and the players a bit.
Anna,
So
you said the word kill, and your
yeah.
doggy lifted its head,
Oh
turned,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
listened.
He's looking to see if there's any gophers and stuff, because he's been out chasing gophers and
If we
squirrels and
kill all the
stuff today. So
golfers,
oh
you're
yeah,
gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
yeah.
Gophers, you Greek. Sorry, I had to quit. I had to quit Caddyshack. Ah, yeah. Oh, compost. That's a good one. I may make him play compost, Curtis. That's a good guess. Compost. Yeah. So yeah, Walt has his character. Pete Moss has sons mulch, compost. Yeah. Yeah. You get it. Yeah. This is what happens when you've been playing for 45 years and everyone's kind of
Mulch, compost, and fork it over.
yeah. There's a third one. I forget his name. Bill may remember if he's on. So yeah, Anna's got the dog on gopher duty.
Oh yeah,
The
he
dog's
loves
ears
it.
are up.
Oh yeah, he loves it.
I
Yeah.
think the new phrase up here is humanure.
Ooh, nice.
And when you're moving the outhouse, you shovel the humanure so nobody will step.
So I guess legends can appear over time, or or they can be in the ether out there, just waiting to spring them on your characters.
There's the other way.
Okay.
Okay, let me take you to a moment in the X-Men.
Yeah,
the
sure.
Comic.
Yeah, Mike Disney.
The X-Men are standing on a dock in Japan, and the wind is blowing stuff past them. And one of them is a scrap of newspaper. And Wolverine pops his claws and snags the scrap of newspaper. And he reads on it. And he says here. And Scott looks at him and says, "I didn't know you could read Japanese." And he says, "You never asked." You see, so that's the thing. If you can tie it to characters who are already there in the set.
Right. Okay.
That's even more effective, because then everybody starts looking at the NPCs in a new way. Because what other secrets do other NPCs have that they've been holding out on us?
So that's a great point. So quick example. Yesterday, I did a birthday stream. First one I've ever done, because it fell on a Saturday. Did it in the morning, and I had a group of Coco was one of them. Korg, Tim. And I had this group, and I'm trying. They're like been playing for at most a year and a half. I'm trying to get them immersed in 40 years of campaign history, right? So I figured out how do I do that, right? It's tough, but I took 2 player characters from one of my other guys, interacted with them, and kind of got them in on the storyline that's going on. And with a legend that their father had slain Lindsay the Terrible, the black dragon that was plaguing the county of Ulick for 35 years ago. And kind of interwove it with that, taking it with actual me NPCing someone else's player character there just to get that interaction going. Because I want them to feel, I want them to feel part of the, in the depths of it. Because we've got so much history, You got more history than me, Ed, as you've proven, if you said to me many times on Twitter posts.
Oh, my knees have more history.
Yes, so I want the players, characters for ship. Oh, dude, we all have done that. We've all done dumb things with character names. I mean, I had my Goblin and Bugbear out yesterday, so and his 2 favorites. So, yeah, but that's it. I mean, you can always use that technique. Throw them into some legends, and that was a true legend of the campaign. That they're going way back into the late '80s. So.
I mean, I'm looking at your map, Jay. Defile's End. That's an unfortunate.
Yes, and that's one of my own. So that's the Druid's Defile, right? And so here, so if I show you, like, here, we'll clear it up a little bit more here. Here's Altamira.
Ooh.
Yeah, and here's the Druid's Defile, which Anna actually named it, right? Anna, it had
No,
name.
I didn't name it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I put it on the map. It's named by someone else.
Yeah,
I
it's a
put
Hateful
very
Wars
few names
location.
on this, but yeah.
And so I had a town, Defile's End, where a big fight took place. So it's the end of the Druid's Defile, basically, and that's a legendary place now, where it's almost like a 300 situation there, for them, kind of. And they all got killed. And a couple of years ago, we did an adventure there where they fought a lot of sword raids because they had all turned into undead. Because when you die, everyone turns into undead. Usually in worlds for the most part. But yeah,
I can look at Anna's maps forever.
Isn't it great? But
yeah.
But Ed, all the locations on this are almost all those you see there are mine. Added into Anna's map. I think they all are, Anna. That you see. No, Esmerin's not. Esmerin's the only one that's not.
Exactly.
That's the only one that's not. Right, all these are mine. And
Yeah.
you've been to,
Nice.
you adventured at Fallen Crest.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You adventured there. So yeah. So that's the cool thing though about creating your own lore in an existing setting. And that's why another thing. I know I'm on a diatribe. I'm going off on a tangent. I hate the term. Well, you don't homebrew because you don't have it. You're in a Greyhawk setting. You homebrew in Forgotten Realms, and I homebrew in Greyhawk.
Yeah. We homebrew in any setting we use by the act of using it.
Hey, Skagith. That's exactly right, and that's it. We homebrew everything we do, and it may turn into lore. Yours turns into lore, real official lore. Mine turns into fanon, and that's the important thing about it. So, and from there we can create some cool legends and stories, and that's what we're gonna try and do tonight a little bit. So, yes, I have S&M Mining Consortium, S&M Mining Interest Limited. It's S&M is the Dwarven Schlemmen meal. It's not sadomasochist. Yeah, see, I knew Ed starts laughing on that one.
Well, bold dwarfs run S&M.
There's always double entendres with everything that I do, it seems. Yeah. So, what? You don't have to give us. I know you got 2 big ones, right? 2 big ones. Give us an example of something like maybe in the that you're like, wow, this something in Forgotten Realms that like turned into a small thing, but then it kind of got momentum. You know what I mean?
Okay. If you have purchased Forgotten Realms products for the last 3 decades, you may have noticed that there are some big baddies who end up with a Keystone Cops reputation because everything they do goes wrong. Even if it seems insurmountable and inevitable, they are the Dark Lord. You cannot defeat them. The game moves on, the lore moves on, assuming that the player characters have defeated them. Sometimes this is a computer game. Sometimes it's a series of novels supporting a computer game. And this being is Zastam, the Lich who runs Thay. Now, he's surrounded by enemies largely of his own making. Mulhorand, Unser, Aglarond, Rashomon. So, and now Murgom, which is ruled now by dragon princes. So none of them want him to expand. And he seems to be battering against them, constantly invading, because of course now, as this lich raising armies, you see, Thay, the slaving empire of Thay, now living slaves are status symbols that noble and rich families have. Oh, we have a house slave, you know, because you have to feed and water a slave. They're expensive. So Thay's armies are undead now. And the laborers, the miners, the people who labor in the hot desert dust trying to till crops out of it, they're undead. So they don't have to be fed. They don't have to be rested. They don't have, you know, all that. And Zastam should be insurmountable. But he is defeated over and over and over again. So this has turned into a thing where certain fans, including one I work with a lot, Joaquin, are actually at the stage of going through the known lands of Faerun, the continent we're on, in Toril, and working out their GDPs,
Chuck?
what they import and export, how the people on top, like Sembia, you know, the mercantile and financial powerhouses, how they got to be on top, what's keeping them there, and what would Thay's road to victory be if Zastam would just get out of his own way and pursue the right strategy. And that is really interesting, because if you do that sort of work, then you've laid the grounds for what's coming up in history over the next 50, 60 years. Not necessarily what will happen, but what power brokers will try to achieve.
Okay.
You know, not to call in any real world stuff that's happening right now, but let us just go back to, say, the League of Nations, and start with the League of Nations and move forward in history towards us, where we are right now, and look at all the various attempts that people did to either build an empire, knock down a rival's empire, come to a new trade relationship with somebody, whatever, you know, and just, it's those sort of things that are going to happen over the next 50 years, in the campaign setting years. And then it doesn't matter what actually ends up happening, because your player characters hopefully will have a large say in that, because they're important movers and shakers in the setting. But you now know, as a dungeon master, what the big power people are heading for, are trying to do, what their long-term aims and goals are, so you can spin endless new adventures, because if they get thwarted in one thing, they'll try something else. And that's how you build something little. And right now, somebody has seized on Zastam, who screws up time and time again. We don't know how, but the various people designing the adventures at TSR and later Wizards always have him lose to the player characters. We don't know how, because that happens at your gaming table. But the canon that moves on for the game assumes the player characters have defeated him once again. Okay, so then what would Zastam do now if he was sensible? So you do that, and it unfolds the next future of the campaign for you.
That makes total sense. By the way, we saw Zastam for what, 1.5 seconds during the movie?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Forge Fitzwilliams comes into the room and says, "Oh, there you are," and he just fades back into the alcove.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
I so wish that we'd gotten a soliloquy line from him. Oh, I don't deal with bozos.
So that that I'm gonna go off on a tangent again. If you respect that the heroes win, and you read up on what happened in the past, and if you don't, then you get Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Mhm.
I'm done with that discussion right then and there.
Yeah.
Yes. So so Ed, that's really cool to hear, because you got to go, well, what's up next? It's kind of like the back in the cartoons when how many times can Batman arrest the Joker and the Riddler and they're you know what I mean? Back in over and over and over again, but they seem to get out, or evil gets thwarted, but evil's not destroyed, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a part of me that says, okay, if I was in the next cell from one of these bozos,
Right.
the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, whatever, and it was the guy who was the sleight of hand guy, first thing I do is make sure I got a rock or a brick or just my shoes, and I break every knuckle in his hands. Last chance I got, so that he couldn't do what he does so well.
Yeah.
And that would be a sort of the real world, realpolitik what I would do, and then that would change the character, because the character can no longer do his nimble stuff. He has to overcome it some way, like with his brain. And in the case of the Joker, that would be really scary. The whole thing about the Killing Joke, which I won't ruin for the people who haven't read the Killing Joke yet, the whole thing that points out at the end, it points out that Batman and the Joker are insane in the same brilliant way. So they're going to find a new way, a new road, a new tactic. You're not stopping them. You're putting a dam in the river, and so it takes a new course.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, Dragon here have a point. Thank you. That's it. Ed said exactly what it is. And when things are written, when adventure modules like Pool of Radiance are written, you're expecting the heroes to be successful. 90%, 90, whatever it is. I mean, it's just that's the way the adventure modules get written. I don't think anyone wrote. Gary Gygax not write Hamlet to say, oh well, it's the Temple's going to come and destroy the entire city or his entire town. It's not that way. It's not meant that way, right? And that's kind of
okay. There's a thing here. There's a social contract, meaning I didn't buy this romance novel to see them not get together at the end. I'm expecting that because I bought the romance novel, and that's what romance novels do.
Right.
But really good skilled writers and designers can give you a wrinkle that you weren't expecting.
Like Casablanca.
Yeah. Or they can have the heroine at the end say, Mr. Darcy, I am going to make love to the stable boy. The whip is for you.
Right.
And just leave you going, what? Because you weren't expecting it. You see, it fits within the setting, but they zagged when you expected them to zig.
Yeah. Which is okay once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But like you said that perfectly. Like how many adventures am I gonna write where who's the guy? Oh God, your early series. It's an early low level adventure series, a trilogy of 3. Oh man,
Are we talking Spellfire?
No, it's a town area, and the guy's like the lord of the area, and he's always messing up. God.
Oh well, there's lots of.
Yeah, it's gonna come to me. I have one of them, one of the books. I gotta find. Thing about published opportunities that they allow for differences in every. Yep, that's true. Everyone's campaign's different.
Yeah.
Mine's different than Anna's and Greyhawk. Everyone's is different, and that's the great thing about and the love about it. But like, yeah, it's a great point. I never even thought of it that way.
To put it in Greyhawk terms.
Yeah.
Just decide for yourself right now if your campaign is set in the right now of Greyhawk. How prominent are the Scarlet Brotherhood?
That's it. Sword of the Daggerdale, Kern. Who's that guy's name? The Daggerdale series.
What, Randall Moore?
That's it, Randall Moore. That's who I was thinking about. Randall Moore. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't remember his name.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm 12,000 created characters into the realms now. I don't remember all their names.
Randall Moore. And that was it. It was a low level series of adventures. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they do stupid things like gallop a horse
regiments.
out the top window of their bedroom in their keep. Yeah, you remember the stupid things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's probably great history on a lot of stuff, Curtis, which is awesome. And that's where you get the legends aspect of it. And I don't know if Greyhawk has enough legends. Anna, what are your thoughts?
No, Greyhawk has a lot of hinted at legends,
Right, right.
but and we have a few
There's Eric Boyd.
obvious
good.
ones. So hello,
Eric's
yeah.
on.
Yeah, we have a few, and we even have a couple that have made it into general D&D lore, so to speak. We have Vecna is the most obvious
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
made it kind of from. It's kind of interesting. Vecna has gone the full circle. He started as a little write-up for some magic items in the Dungeon Master's Guide, had no connection to Greyhawk. Then he was written into Greyhawk, and then he escaped out into the wild and became a generic D&D master villain, so to speak. So that is it. But the obvious one when it comes to legends in Greyhawk is Thuriston, in that sense that he's the kind of the example of, and I would call him almost an uber legend in Greyhawk that can be put in behind everything. He's never been resolved, never been, which is the I think one of the key points with a legend for game settings is that they should never be resolved. That's something for the individual game master to figure out. How would Thuriston fit into my game? Is it just a cult about something that doesn't exist? Is it something big that will come in X amount of years and just, or is it already devouring the world or whatever? Meaning you can, that's something that I think for the DM to come up with his or her own view of it. So that I think is the beauty of these enigmatic that are more a phenomena. And I think a good legend should be more, look at how Sauron is depicted in Lord of the Rings, more as a phenomena than a person.
It will.
And I think that's another key bit, so to speak, is that they could have been a person way long back, so to speak, like Sauron is a good example. And then they become a phenomena. And a phenomena in the real world could be an ideology or just a movement, an idea, so to speak. But in a fantasy world, you can take these things and they can
Yeah.
run even better. They become the Force in Star Wars or something. That you can have them there, and then you can, as a DM, you can take this and then mold it into a more concrete shape form as needed in your campaign, so to speak. And you can do that, and you can twist it and create a cult and do it all that. And then when the players are characters are in there fighting it, whatever, then they realize who they're up to, and boom, you have elevated it into 10 times higher, so to speak. So when they're knee deep into it, they realize that no, they're not knee deep, they're here deep, so to speak. That's but that's only one way of doing it. But I think in the fantasy world you have it, and Greyhawk has. There are several other interesting myths that you can build into. We have obvious candidate, a Serarak. We have the whole range of old liches from back in the day. They can all fit this
Right.
purpose if you want to, so to speak.
It's all
You need,
retcon.
exactly, it's all retcon, but it doesn't matter.
I know,
All you-
but that's
but
what I'm,
that's part of it. You just need to think about how concrete do you want it to have it, and the time span you want it. Is
Let-
it something you want to resolve next weekend on your
Right.
session, or is it something you want to spend 60 sessions building up to, so to speak?
So that's a good question for Ed.
Yeah.
How much starts as an idea, and then it gets weaved into, and basically, he didn't have it at the very beginning, so it retcon back into a legend. I mean, I imagine it's a never building cycle, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
my original realms, I am putting tools, building blocks, in the hands of DMs.
Yeah.
Which means if you are a designer working for TSR or later Wizards, you're reading that, and then you pick up my loose ends and develop them into something.
Yep.
And one of the rule I put into the realms, Jeff Grubb's rule was don't blow up the moon. My rule was for every loose end you tie off in adventure, I need 2 new ones.
Yeah.
Hopefully 3 new ones, but a minimum of 2. So the world will always seem alive. We will never finish its
Yeah.
story. It will always be growing and changing in front of us. And that was deliberate to stop them just picking up something and telling its story and burning the character, burning the place, or burning the magic item, or burning the idea. And so, yeah, from the very beginning, they were meant to be used by dungeon masters, and dungeon masters have used them,
Yeah.
and players have gone
Dave.
adventuring to try and get this or that. So yeah, you put these things into the settings for them to be used, and yeah, so time and time again, I have put stuff in, and it's been used, and I
Yeah.
would argue that there is a paramount example of that in Greyhawk, right in front of your eyes. You have a crazy mage who is mayor of the free city of Greyhawk, who
Yep.
ascends to godhood, or does he? Using this
Right.
ritual,
Yep.
right in front of your eyes. And what
Yeah.
you're basically doing is
Y-
saying, look what you can do as a player character if you're crazy enough.
That's a good
Yep.
point.
And Mordenkainen is one of these things that you can turn into a little bit of whatever you want, so to speak.
But he's been turned into an afterthought because he's everywhere.
Exactly, but that's great, because that also means that you as a DM, you can pick up whatever possibilities you want.
I know it drove Ed crazy in the movie that they mentioned at Mordenkainen way more than Elminster. It drove me nuts.
No, it didn't bother me in the slightest.
Oh, okay.
But I did have this momentary vision of Vanna White, or pick your model, in a slinky gown.
Right.
And Mordenkainen's tottering across the scene in the background, and she's in the foreground holding up a bottle of perfume, saying, "And buy your new Mordenkainen scent of the ages." And you hear Mordenkainen in the background say, "Oh, for God's sake," and keep walking. You're right, Jay. He was overexposed and overused because everybody wanted a piece of him.
Yeah.
And
it's just such a
Elminster's in
buzz.
the same role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the realms, and it
But-
is the result of lazy design writing, not on the part of DMs. DMs and players should do whatever they want to do at their own gaming table. It's lazy writing on the part of designers to point that in the way. Don't overuse him. In the same way that Mark Harmon, who played the mainstay character of NCIS, Leroy Jethro Gibbs, would always say, "No, I don't like this script." And somebody would say, "Why?" And he'd say, "You make my character talk too much." Because Leroy, as the leader of the team, the easy, lazy way of writing was to have him explain the stakes, or him explain the background history to the viewer. But Leroy Jethro Gibbs was a character of few words, and what did come out of his mouth was usually a smartass remark to the rest of his team. Like, he would turn to the one guy on the team who played computer games and say, "Come on, Elf Lord.
Yeah.
Let's go
And-
do something." And the moment you made him talk too much, you were busting the character in order
Yep.
to fit your plot.
Yeah, and Ed, that is a great point, even for games. When you run games, don't shove lore down the players' throats, so to speak, or their ears, or whatever. Meaning, only tell it when they ask you to.
Yeah.
When they realize that, damn, now we're knee deep into this shit. We don't know what is it. What is this, so to speak? That's when you
Smells like shit.
exactly,
Tastes
and then,
like shit.
they have to drag it out of you. And I know it's really hard, and I've learned this lesson the hard way, so to speak. Now, after nearly 40 years of DMing, now I'm starting to understand
Anna,
the
Anna.
value of not talking about lore all the time.
How
That's
can
why I
you
need.
have been DMing for 40 years when you're only 29?
Ah, come on. I started early. I started as a spirit in the yeah.
That's funny.
But what I'm saying is that it's I mean, it's a hard lesson to learn, but that's also one of the reasons I need to sit here and babble about it, because I don't want to babble about it so much during the games. Yeah, but there's a couple of good examples of from fandom and people and many that have made it into published lore that can be used. I'm thinking about
Thanks,
in Pomage you have the Earth Dragon. That's a perfect example of something you can turn into something cool in your campaign. Crovis is another one. You have that there's and you have one that I've figured out for my Shieldlands campaign that you can have that is really cool. You have the Dalvier up there, the Lich up in the Horn Society, and Horn Society itself is a perfect one because it's vague, powerful, and now it seems to have disappeared, or has it, so to speak. That yeah, so you can turn it, and it's also something that was potentially everywhere, depending on how you portray them, so to speak. If you make them deviltry, then that gives you certain options. If you like me, you made them primarily old Flandom, that give you other options. So you have to kind of think how do you theme things, and then how do you crunch it, and one should be related to the other, but not necessarily, so to speak. Meaning, take the concept of a Death Knight. The Death Knight is part cool kind of concept being used all over the fantasy world, from Middle Earth to whatever, so to speak. But it's also mechanics, and so you have to tie one into the other. But you can have different flavors, meaning you have the Death Knights in the Grey Kingdom and the Cardigoth and Portreya. But what if IUs has versions of them? We have the Black Guard and a Guard of Black Death and all that. That sounds like, okay, they fill the same role, so to speak. They have a different name and they function a bit different mechanically, but they could fit the same role in your campaign. So there's options. And you can, what about Vecna? Did he have a cool, awesome guard of someone back in the day that you've forgotten about?
Sure.
That's something you can invent for your game if you want to. Yeah.
And if a particular set of Death Knights were created by a particular individual or group of necromancers or whatever for a particular purpose, dungeon masters who are listening to this, if you've ever seen the end of Iron Man 3, where all sorts of Iron Man suits are flying in, as Tony Stark says to Jarvis, enact the barn door protocol, or enact the whatever protocol. I won't spoil the movie.
Right.
Well, you could have all sorts of things happen remotely to those Death Knights because somebody has decided that it's time to invoke a protocol. So the Death Knights are killing machines, smart killing machines, on their own independent killing machines. I would argue that Lord Soth does what Lord Soth pleases most of the time. But what if their distant creator says, oh, you're close enough to the heroes, or you're close enough to the Arkenstone, or you're close enough to the Well of Youth. Explode! Or whatever. You know.
So there's a difference between, there's also a difference between deep lore dumping and rattling off everything that's in the published books and what you got going on in your own campaign. You know, so I have to get this question answered from Ed, because I think it's a great question. I think Rick Solis asked it. One of you, I'm sorry if it was someone else. Do you, like, for example, Ed, there's a lot of people who write for you. So, like Drizzt, do you use Drizzt in your campaign? Like, or other characters that were not written by you when you're doing your own home game part of it, or are you just?
By and large, no.
Okay.
Not because I don't like the characters, but because most of those characters that have been written up are at a power level that is too high. They could be mover and shakers NPCs, but the long-running Central Realms campaign, they already have established that they have Elminster for that, and they established that in 1978.
Right.
So all of these other characters are coming along after them.
It's a great question.
And I don't want to make them think that you get ahead in the world by finding kings, prime ministers, emperors, presidents, and grabbing them by the scruff of the throat and shaking them and saying, hey, I need this out of you. Or you come to them bearing gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh and say, do this for me. No. I want them to think of those characters as operating independently in the background. So you're not the only heroes in town or the only anti-heroes in town, but they're operating over there because it makes the world seem more alive.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That was just a good question. I just am curious on
and
that. That's
and
cool.
part of that too is that there can be a lot of cool things to other attempts, successful or not, to thwart the evil the characters are trying to fight too. So all of a sudden they get allies from nowhere, so to speak, can come in and help them with the odds seems really bad, whatever, because the rest of the world should not be sleepwalking when they see the big evil clouds in the sky and the hordes of death knights coming, whatever. Most people will run for the hills, but a few people will realize, oh, we need to fight now. So they will prepare here and there, and so and that is one thing you should have cool twists like that in the story at times, and they should come. You should have them prepared, but then you should launch them when you feel like that it's almost too late, so to speak, or something. It's that, or you should have the players asking for them, so to speak, when they're like screaming for help or whatever. So
Hmm.
that's the yeah.
And the other cool thing is what
Yeah.
I call the 2 layers. The 2 layers of secret agents. So you have the Agent Coulson type, you know,
Yeah.
again, the from Marvel,
Yep.
the very polite, very well groomed man in a suit who say, "Oh no, we're another organization, but we're here, and we wouldn't normally show ourselves, but unfortunately, you have triggered the whatever,
Yeah.
so we're going to deal with it." Now, if I was actually running a powerful kingdom, I would have those guys. They are the PR guys, and then I would have behind Agent Coulson is the sweaty, middle-aged immigrant cleaner, a woman who's bending over and groaning as she does so, emptying the garbage cans in this office. And she's part of the real Secret Service. They don't advertise themselves. They don't establish contact with people. They don't look like they're in command or control of everything, but they do the actual work. So that when the guys in the suits have said, we've
Yeah.
given you a cover story. We just like you to say this when you get in
Yeah.
front of the cameras. And they are the people who are actually watching in case something goes wrong, and they will spring into action.
Yeah.
So you have like two, and once you establish and the
That's
player
funny.
characters realize that there are these 2 layers or more layers, then you suddenly have a plausible explanation for 2 things. When we tried to do something but somehow it went wrong at the last minute, well, they were obviously working against us behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Or when we improbably pull something off at the last minute, or when there's a certain death scene, again, I call back to you Agent Coulson. He dies, or does
Yeah.
he? No, he
Yeah.
doesn't, because they needed him for another TV series. But
Yeah.
what if there was somebody slipped him something, so he didn't realize he was going to be saved, so he thought he was dying, and he was going through all the experiences of dying, but somehow there was a preparation, so he came back. And once you have that, then again, the player characters, they realize there are shadows within shadows and mysteries within mysteries, and the world isn't as simple as if I can get close enough to that guy and I can punch him in the face, I can take him down.
And
That's
yeah.
what we learn in the schoolyard. And then we learn there are consequences when you do that.
Yeah.
So it's part of growing up to being an adventurer when you say, okay, now you've killed the last orc. Now what?
Well, yeah, that's
when,
true.
when you talked about that, I got the remember the French movie Nikita, the original Nikita, when you have Interieur,
Yeah,
when shit hit the fan and she screams for help and she's screwed up, Mr. Interieur comes and
right.
and he seems like the savior, but the problem is that it goes so he simply yeah, he becomes the problem, so to speak. So
Yes, yeah.
and it's an interesting. And then they made a whole spin-off movie about him later on that is also a great movie. So yeah. So Luc Besson, or I forgot the name of the actor, but yeah, Interior. Nikita is if you want to see a straight action movie, the French Nikita, the original,
The
highly
original.
recommended. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. Hmm.
By the way, Ed Dark Elf Twilight said Ed just described Silver, people, the queen of Firmament Spymaster.
Yes.
There
Yes.
you go. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these things come up again and again in the hands of skilled writers and designers
Yeah.
because they work.
Yeah.
We call
Right,
them
right.
tropes because they
Mhm.
work.
Yeah,
They
and
speak
also
to
you,
I like
yeah,
tropes.
yeah, and you can also have the. But you talked about layers. And an interesting thing is you can have the different layers move at different pace. So you can have the underlying layer moves faster than the battle the characters are in. So the characters are in all this action and they're demons and they're orcs and things are flying and arrows are coming, things are dying. But that is more static, and then the real world, the real nasty goes on. So if someone then looks out the window and see, damn, the big city that is 50 miles away, that is our safe haven, so to speak, that is now under attack and going up in the smoke. So you can take what used to be the underlying boring background and twist that into increase the speed of the underlying story compared to the little crappy situation the characters are in at the moment, so to speak, or vice versa. So you should change the speed on the underlying layer or the situation they're in, so to speak.
So I'm trying to think here, Ed. How do you deal with? I hate to, I'm going to go there. How do you deal with some things that turn into maybe myths, legends, or deep lore, and you're like, man, I hate this, or this is annoying, but I got to deal with it now. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you what I don't like.
Jar Jar Binks is a god.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I'm getting in trouble. I've never had him on. I hate no one ever dies in R.A. Salvatore's world. No one ever dies. Everyone comes back. It's really, really freaking annoying, right? So even Wolfgar comes back, and then Argus Venturi comes back way too. I'm like, oh my god, just kill him, right? So,
The problem is, you want to do another 6 books with this character or that
I
character.
know, but it's just like, my gosh, please, please.
And I
Supposed
mean,
to, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you grew up, if you're my age, and you grew up with Marvel Comics,
Right.
Peter Parker didn't graduate for 20 effing years.
Yeah, that's true.
More
that's
than
true.
that.
I know.
Because
It's
they
entertainment.
didn't want
yeah.
to change the magic formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I understand. It's just you want to entertain
okay.
people, but writing
and
books
you
is
see-
different than playing a game. It's
Oh,
playing
sure.
the RPG.
And
yeah,
I
true,
killed
true.
off Delg.
Right.
Oh, spoiler. I mean, the book's been out for 50 years or whatever
Right.
now. But I killed off Delg, and I still get hate mail for that. Just like Bob still gets hate mail for killing Chewie. That was a
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
someone
a,
just mentioned that.
spoiler.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
of
but I
course
guess
that,
the
Yeah.
classic
was
is yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
no, I was just saying that was an editorial assignment. He didn't
Yeah.
do it because he wanted to. He was asked to write the book in which,
Yeah.
and Terry Brooks didn't want to do it. So hey, Bob,
Yeah.
you can take
Yeah.
the fall for this one.
Arthur Conan Doyle, when he got tired
Yeah.
of Sherlock Holmes, he killed
Yeah.
him, and there was an uproar, and then he had to bring him back again. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
That is the problem. Oh yeah. Sorry. Go on, Jay.
I had another great question. Do you have any legendary NPCs, monsters that have died off in your campaign? I imagine so.
In mine,
Yeah.
a lot of them. But you see, here's the thing:
They're not-
I don't control the canon for the setting, the
Right.
published setting. Now.
Right. So it's in yours.
I killed off Larlock, and Wizards. No, he's still alive. We're going to bring him back. And here we go. So I made
Okay.
sure that when he died, we didn't see the body
Okay.
because I knew what they were going to do. But as far as I'm concerned,
Okay.
the Syringe beat the pants off him and destroyed him. He was already dead. He was already a lich. He was a lich king, a lich emperor with tons of liches working for him, and she just destroyed him for good. Because, okay, enough. You've done enough damage. I've tolerated you for years. This is too far. Bang, gone. But I know that I'm not the only cook in the kitchen.
Right. Right. Okay.
If I throw the pressure cooker out the window because it's exploded 3 times, and I'm going to have to replace the ceiling because of all the craters in it filled with food that's dried out now, and before it was dripping down. So no more pressure cookers. I know the moment my back is turned and I'm at work, somebody will buy a pressure cooker and bring it in because they're used to cooking with one. Let's do it. So that's going to happen over and over
Okay.
again.
Okay.
But I want to kill people and kill them dead because that creates history. Things actually matter, and that's the most crucial thing in life for a lot of people, and certainly in a D&D campaign or any
Yeah.
other
Yep.
imaginary
Yep.
campaign. The things that your character did matter.
Does.
You made a difference in the world. You left your mark.
Mhm. And also as a DM, you have a huge kind of, I would say, better situation, a huge advantage compared to a publisher that needs to make money. You don't. You can run the best story without having to think about profit motives, future
Yep.
products,
That's
a wide audience. No, you can create the best thing for your audience of your gamers at your table. And that means that you have much wider options. You don't have to hedge your bets or do market analysis and think 6 years from now or product format or whatever. You can run with what you think is the best and what your
I
players
killed
appreciate.
Elminster. I
it.
killed Elminster in front of your very eyes. I killed him messily. He's dead forever. But I save his appendix. So you can now get your Elminster bendable hen puppets, each with a tiny fragment of Elminster appendix in it. So is he really dead? Now, this is why you will
Yep.
never let me be marketing manager of WotC,
Yep.
Hasbro, or
Mhm.
anything else.
Right.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
look. We had an evil antithesis in a campaign. I've told this story many times. Get killed. Tim's dad took his ball sack and made a tobacco bag out of it. Right, and then they stole that and they resurrected him.
Mhm.
The villain, because you can resurrections.
Yep.
Did,
And that's
did
the
we get
other. Yeah.
So like it's just
Yeah, and as a DM, you need to figure out what is possible when it comes to resurrections and stuff.
so
And
does
whatnot.
he
Yeah.
does he poo tobacco now to get
It was one of the most stunning things ever when he said he was doing that. We're all looking at each other like we just started laughing. And I was like, good. 3 to 5 years from now, I'm gonna bring the guy back. I already knew what I was gonna do then. I know, Coco. It wasn't me. It was Tim's dad. Yeah, the mysterious Tim's dad did it. So he hated the.
Coco said, "Ballsack, Jay."
Yeah. Just know that's the same character, Coco, that Tim DeTrulli hates now, the new junior. So I made a brand new one. Sometimes it's just, because a new generation of players, you want them to experience things. Yeah, so it's right. It's almost like the book's being rebooted. Yeah, a little bit. But not, it's a different.
When I was a kid, I had to fight Vecna, so by damn, you're gonna have to fight Vecna too.
Hey, that's another funny thing. How many of it? I've never had a Vecna encounter ever in my campaign. I'm just like, no, I'm not going there.
Oh, Jay, you have to watch my recent video, The Toenail of Vecna.
No way, you made a spoof video? Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta check that out. Let me see.
Out on YouTube for free. Have fun.
All right, there you go. I just linked all of that stuff. It's in YouTube, but yeah, go there after the stream. The toenail of Vecna. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's great. All right, so you got one for each, right?
Of course.
Yes. Why don't we hit up the Forgotten Realms one here and see what we
Oh, the
got.
Forgotten Realms one first.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you
Make the
surprised
Greyhawkers
me.
wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're used to that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. What do we got? It's a dragon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
A new Dragon of the Realms.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Are we ready?
Yes, everyone ready here? Here comes some new Forgotten Realms lore.
Are you all?
Look at that, George Crashos. They've been waiting for decades. Yeah, George is on. We've been waiting, but that's okay, George. We create our own here. The whole community creates their own. That's a great thing. That's why all those books that are coming out, all the Visions of Greyhawk and Grimoires are awesome. Great new lore.
Don't worry, George and Eric. I will email you this after the show, just as I emailed it to Jay, so he can have it.
There you go.
Okay, so are you all sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Then I'll begin. Vrella Vera. Vrella Vera. Vrella Vera is a song dragon who dwells in the Rat Hills, the dung heaps south of the City of Splendors, where Waterdeep's wastes are carted. Posing as a crazy old lady, Wathra Darmantle. Her habit of using magic to defend herself or to escape when she's attacked has earned her the nickname the Dung Witch. She sells ointments and potions, herbal and effective but non-magical, to aid against diseases, banish infections, help wounds heal, and deaden pain and nausea. When she's not scorch-burning human wastes and then tilling them into the soil to become fertilizer, Vrelevera, using a variety of magical disguises, all of them female humans of various ages and backgrounds, work subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, against the Xanathar's agents, ignoring their petty thievery, but sharply curbing larger plots involving poisoning city water supplies or edible wares, ongoing sequences of assassinations or guild intimidations, attempts to subvert Waterdavian noble families, and attempts to control, as opposed to work with and often bully, major costers and shipping fleets. Notice there, I'm going to step out of the reading now and say to all Dungeon Masters out there, so that's why the Xanathar hasn't taken over the city long ago.
Oh!
There's somebody working against him, not just Elminster and Laryl and their predecessors, and
Right.
the Mass Lords, and the Guildmasters, and the Watchful Order, but this lady. Okay, back into the reading. So, that takes us to Relevera's magic. As a great worm, Relevera has all the innate magical abilities of her kind. She studies and experiments with arcane magic as an adventuresome human wizard might, and commands spells enough that she can shift from her true human form, that of a tall, slender, attractive, middle-aged woman with calf-length, unbound brunette hair, high cheekbones, and strikingly dark, blue-black eyes surrounded by large, dark lashes, so her face looks somewhat like a skull, to other human forms of her choosing. Although she can take any likeness at all, by this means, she rarely strays from a handful of favored forms. Her customary wrinkled old Wathra Darmantle seeming, a nondescript middle-aged man with a weathered face, a short, slim young woman with jet black long hair and large butter brown eyes, and a tall, imperious, aristocratic-looking older lady with a hawk-beak nose, a haughty expression, and pale blue eyes, who is so thin that her ribs and pelvic bone tops can be clearly seen. When not looking like one of these likenesses, she is usually duplicating someone she's just seen to work a temporary deception. Although she wields enough magic to defeat senior order wizards in spell duels, she rarely casts spells in public, preferring to conceal her abilities. Most of her casting consists of a gathering of her will and a single trigger word uttered in Draconic. No somatic or material components are involved. And I'll step out here and say as an aside, George Crashos has been the primary keeper of developing lexicons of the realms, and Draconic is one of them. Right,
Ah.
stepping back into the reading here, rather than behaving in public like a wizard, Relevera acts as a magically powerless human who is aware of spell ranges, areas of effect, and possible effects, might, trusting in her immunities to non-magical weapons and attacks, mind-altering spells, poisons, and electricity, lightning damage. Like all song dragons, Relevera has true sight. If she feels she faces a serious threat, she will teleport away, and if pursued, will take dragon shape, use her breath weapon if she feels it will likely blunt likely attacks she'll face, and then take herself away for the situation. If she must fight, she will do flyby attacks, pounce, then fly away again to attack anew later, wearing a foe down rather than standing and fighting. She long ago developed spells that entirely banish any smells clinging to her, even if she was splashed with something noisome. Using them enables her to entirely expunge the reek of human wastes and rotting garbage that would otherwise cling to her from dwelling in the Rat Hills and actually working with its wastes daily. Next section, friend and confidant. In various of her human guises, Relivera is a close friend to two masked lords who have little to do with each other, socially or politically, and are not close friends, and with the El Torchel, Waterdavian noble family, who have always dabbled in arcane magic. Genuinely fond of the humans she chooses to spend a lot of time with, Vrel serves all of these as confidants. They trust her to discuss matters frankly, act as a go-between to relay or gather information from third parties, often guild members, shopkeepers, or rough street folk the lords or the noble would otherwise have difficulty meeting with in any privacy, and to gather information from the streets Waterdeep for them. On at least two occasions, she's come to the timely aid of one of these to protect them from personal danger by summoning others, without revealing her draconic nature or magical powers to them or anyone else. Steerage. Vrel is not above tinkering with Waterdavian city politics to steer the city towards being something she personally favors. In her case, this means covertly working against the growing power of the guilds. So guildless crafters and shopkeepers still have some standing in the city. The rise of the guilds tempered the unfettered power of the nobles long ago, but, as Vrel sees things, the guilds shouldn't become unfettered replacements that need to be tempered in turn. So Vrel murmurs in the ears of guild members, urging guild policies that are fair and inclusive of others in the city, not monopolistic. In particular, she nudges masked lords of the city to make decisions that inhibit the portfolio creep of guilds. So a guild that represents glassblowers won't decide that it should also hold sway over those who make window frames, or the openings in buildings that become windows. And because frames are often made of wood, and buildings with such openings often made of brick, don't start to think that they should also rightfully control frame makers and the millers and cutters of wood, and brick makers and bricklayers. As a wielder of magic herself, Relivera takes particular issue with the Watchful Order's attempts to regulate and force Order membership on all arcane magic users within the city, and to restrict spell experimentation to Order members only, which is a recurring push on the part of the Order, usually on the pretext of civic safety. Relivera's secrets. Like all great worms, Vrel has lived a long time and accumulated a castle-high heap of secrets. One of them is why she dwells in the Rat Hills. Her home is a small stone hut, a dolmen of huge stone boulders supporting a slab roof or capstone that's largely buried in a hill of old waste that's rotted down to become like black forest loam. The hut wasn't built as a burial chamber, though it served as one a time or two before Relivera took up residence. It was built to mark the location of Noranhandar, which is Farstrider in Elvish. The few humans, mainly sages of Haurua or Avowed of Candlekeep, who know of it, call it the Farstrider to avoid confusion with a long-ago elven explorer who was also nicknamed Farstrider, and so bore the username Noranhandar, and surrounds this invisible magical feature. The Farstrider is a gate, or portal, of ancient elven make, whose other end is in the foothills of the western face of the God's Watch Mountains in eastern Semfar, overlooking the Derag, the Black Canyon. This gateway was obviously built to swiftly travel great distances clear across Faerun, from that mountain range almost to the water's edge of the Sword Coast. But the reasons for choosing these precise locations for its termini is lost to time. However, Vrel effectively prevents the handful of individuals who know of the gateway, or who may stumble upon it, from using it by living atop, camping on, if you prefer the phrase, the western end of it. She long ago visited the eastern end of it and diverted a mountain waterfall to flood that end of the gate into an icy cold, swift-flowing pond that's continually fed by the waterfall, then overflows to rush down the mountainside and then drain away into a sinkhole at the edge of the Sunfar Plain, though it very likely rises again at the far side of that plain to become the river that flows past and waters the city of Takazmra to the west-southwest. Another secret guarded by Vrelavera is the location of many caches of spellbooks all over Faerun that she acquired over the years, studied from, and experimented with to derive her verbal-only variant spells, then hid away from decay and theft in many places. Some of these are disused tombs whose buried occupants became undead and walked elsewhere. But Vrel never stores spellbooks in the vacated coffins or funeral treasure vaults. Instead, she will bury them in heaps of loot, excavation rubble, down side crevices, in stone coffers she emptied of their former contents, and bore those contents away so they won't alert later intruders that coffers must be hidden somewhere near. A third secret Vrelavera guards and never speaks of is how to open temporary doors, rifts, in Ageron's dragon ward and the wards of Candlekeep to let dragons and other creatures of similar great size in and out. She once warned off Elminster from investigating something she was guarding by telling him she'd seen the inside of Ageron's tower and could enter and depart it at will by means Mistra had taught her. So the goddess of magic trusted her as a guardian as much as her own senior servitors. She knows many, many more secrets, but they are unlikely to arise in most campaigns unless the likes of Larlock or Zastam or Vecna are on the prowl. If they are, what she knows and can provide or guide adventurers to might just keep them alive to defend their realm. Or all the realms.
But that was brilliant.
Awesome. Yep.
So let's remember it during our seminar to retell the end of that story about the portals.
Sure.
In and out, because that's what we're going to be discussing at Gary Con, Anna, myself.
Almost as if I planned it.
Yes, it was beautiful. So I can see. So I don't know what a song dragon is.
Were-dragon is what they were formerly called. They have a human form, which is usually female.
So we have Greyhawk dragons.
Yeah, and the other form is a dragon form, and they have a breath weapon that monkeys with magic around them, as opposed to and then all those things I read out, all those immunities, that's part of being a song dragon. That isn't something that she acquired.
Okay. Are they dragon that consume human form, or are they actually both human and dragon?
They are both.
Wow.
If they have a kid in human form, it'll be human.
Right. Okay.
It may have latent genes that mean their grandchild could manifest as a song dragon again, but they are human, and the metallic dragons, they love to live amongst humans, like Greyhawk dragons.
Right.
Greyhawk dragons, or steel dragons, if you prefer, if you're outside the Greyhawk setting, have a intense interest in living amongst humans, and they're building a history in their life, which is marvelous, by the way. But were-dragons or song dragons is as close, and now they are two different things because they retconned it in later editions of the game. Were-dragons are actually lycanthrope dragons.
Really?
Yeah, but originally,
Okay.
when I wrote them for Dragon Magazine, were-dragons is what is now called song dragons.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be a hard stretch to change over that character into a Greyhawk dragon at all.
No.
Beautiful. They definitely, and when we get the Greyhawk one, we'll wait 15, 20 minutes. Let's stew a little bit how good this first one was, right? So, yeah, that was awesome. And literally, I think that's the longest single, base
Mhm.
one you've ever done. And we really appreciate it, man. That was fantastic.
No problem. Wait till the Greyhawk.
Yeah, really cool.
That's why I asked if everybody was sitting comfortably. Because if you need to pee or get something to eat, do it now.
Yes. So I got. That's why I had a special delivery on a water bottle here as I'm coughing a little bit. So, are dragons your favorite to create lore for, or is it other? It just depends on the creature.
Oh no, my favorite things to create lore for, believe it or not, are beholders.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, you like beholder lore. Yeah.
But the problem is, the opportunities to share it come so much more rarely. A, because the beholders are part of protected IPs, so you can't just write them into anything. It has to be into an official thing.
Right.
And the nature of a beholder, remember, they're supposed to be super geniuses. And if you play them that way, they are either so good at doing things that a write-up of a beholder is going to take about 50 pages if it has any length to its history at all, because of all the subplots and things it's doing, all the things it's dabbling in. And if they haven't dabbled in all those things, they are either of a fixed single purpose, like they are seized with this one thing to do, in which case, why haven't they done it already? Or they're super delusional. Crazy. Because if they're a super genius, they must be deluding themselves into thinking that they're doing it. Anyway. So, and those are far less interesting to write about. Unless their delusion means they have a big blind spot somewhere in their thinking. Which makes them, if the player characters can find it, then the player characters can defeat them or ride an army through that gap,
It's yeah, that was really good, man. That's something. If I wish I had something was that capability, man, to that prose off. How long did that take for you?
About 25 minutes.
Wow, jeez.
I'm rushing to do so many things before GaryCon. And then,
Hey,
you said, "Hey, you got time for a show?"
Yeah,
Sure,
of
why
course I
not?
do. Of course. Hey, I gave you a week notice.
Yeah, that gave me ample time.
Yes, wasn't 3 days. So, but
Well, occasionally I have to sit in this little room with a toilet. So,
trust me. Yeah, we all pretty. I'm getting. My wife just got me a walker. I'm like, oh my god, because with the hip, I'm like, I'm that to that point now,
Yep.
So
it's at that point now, Jay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brett is even playing in the wedding event game at GaryCon there. Brett is on. He's going to play Erebus. So we got so many people playing and so many. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So many different wonderful events coming up. I'm babbling right now. So Anna, Anna, what about I always thought that level of depth that Edges gave us, Sergeant was the first. Sergeant got there, and like Eyes the Evil and Mark Lance. There's stories that connect in there. Like, oh my god, this like I told you, that Doom Grinder caught my attention and From the Ashes.
Oh
right?
because
Yeah.
Sergeant was way more of a, and now I'm going to abuse Gary Gygax, but with a loving intent, so to
Yeah,
speak,
absolutely.
Because I think that Carl Sargent's huge strength was world building.
I abused him lovingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. That was it. I had to speak that horrible way just because that was what I meant. But to me, it's Gary Gygax. Of course, he was a great world builder, but back in the early, he was a war gamer, and he wanted a world to play out war games and stuff in, and it grew into it. But Carl Sargent came in from the get-go to be world building, so to speak, and more or less that was, and Carl Sargent also did something I liked less, like turned the elves into way too Tolkien-esque in Greyhawk for my taste, so to speak. So there was a couple of things like that that I'm not really agreeing with. But I like the approach that he planted lots and lots of seeds, and in that sense, he followed in Gary's footsteps because he also planted tons of seeds and left huge gaps wide open, which I think you need to if it's a setting, if a game setting is a different purpose than if you write a book or
Right,
you
right,
make a
yeah.
movie, because then you want to cover things so the script makes sense and the story is fully told, so to speak, or at least enough told that the audience feel like, damn, it was coherent, it made sense, it put together and stuff like that. But
The
in game,
books.
when you write the settings, it's basically a bunch of seeds that for the DMs and the players to catch on to. So you don't need to explain much of anything really. You can just come up with legends and ideas and some stat blocks and some physics and off you go. Meaning that's how I do my adventures. I don't know when it comes to Castle Dalvier. I have a backstory and I have some idea and I have a vague stat block, not fully statted out. And then we go from there and we'll see, so to speak. And the backstory is that he was originally a Flan, one of the Flan warlords that fought against the Origians, and he did it well, and he realized he needed to hide up there in order to continue the struggle, and he wanted to do it beyond death, so to speak. And then the Vecna and a bunch of other stuff that happens at the same time made him realize that he can use undeath. So he started doing it from a purpose of good, but then the
Right.
surroundings, he got more hateful, and the methods, one led to the other one, and here we are, so to speak. And that's the premise of him, so to speak. And he's also that type of pragmatic politician in a bad sense, that the means justify the yeah.
The end justifies the means.
exactly, yeah. So he just whatever comes around, and he also was also kind of the opposition grew and he didn't in strength, so he needed to rely more and more on a deterrent, and the deterrent, there wasn't that much reality behind it, so he needed to use tricks and cruelty and stuff like that to maintain that presence, and that made it into the hole. But on the other hand, he dug himself into that hole, and then you had so he fitted into the horned ones, so to speak. So I haven't really decided what the relationship with Dalvier and the horned ones are, but I'm working on ideas around it, so to speak. Yeah.
And this is just some of the seed lore, which I call it, that came
Yeah,
out. And I think
exactly.
I
Yeah.
think that and there's, I'm not bashing everything old school because I love it so much. I think that was kind of missing. The adventures had it. The adventures had some, and a lot of the stories that we saw in the dragons were about troop movements and stuff, right?
Right.
You know, and things like that. And I think, oh well, there's this story about this you know, on the other side that no one's talking about this creature roaming around Raddick or whatever. You know what I mean? We didn't hear those stories that much until in Dragon you got some of them from third party writers like Scott Benny.
Yes.
You know, like the Saint article, which Kargath comes from. You know,
Yep.
and one of the persons I wished that I had interviewed before he had passed, definitely.
Yep.
But we didn't get it from the official sources till the Sergeant era, when they had him all over the place, and I think I was prolific with that. You know, I used Varnafane, Doom Grinder, all them. You know, so yeah, exactly. Viva Benny, Gary, 100%. You know, wonderful stuff all over. But that's just, you know, I guess it was style back then. But you know, it's.
Yeah, and I love the source books more than the adventures, because the source books are full of the stuff I'm interested in. The adventure has a most of it is stuff, room
Take less.
descriptions and stuff that I feel like no, I can come up with myself. But
Yeah.
I want the intrigues, I want the names, I want to connect the dots or hint at connections, and then I can fill in the blanks myself, so to speak. And also to take the underlying. I mean, we had a lich living out in the forest up there, but we don't know nothing about him. So what I took that seed from Sargents from the Marklands, and I used
Yeah.
evil. And then I put that together with the bigger struggle that we had from the original books about the origin invasion, the expansion of the Great Kingdom, the decadence of the Great Kingdom, and so on and so forth. So I tied those stories together, so to speak. So I made Castle Delvier one little cog in that story machinery, or one little brick in that big game of politics back in the day, so to speak. And then you have other
Celtic.
interesting things, meaning you have the when it comes to the Horn Society, you have a warlord, or War Duke, the one from the cartoon, and someone made him one of the hierarchs of the Horn Society, which I think is cool
That's in
in that
the living.
sense.
It's in the Living Greyhawk article. I think it was
Yeah.
Mona. I think it was Eric Mona himself.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
So-
made it and that's cool. And then what I did for my campaign, I took that and then spun it even further and wrote up this backstory and tied it into the Dragotha myth, and he was one of the original that went up against Dragotha back in the day, and he was a war hero and blah 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 and so on and so forth, and so he was almost he was slightly earlier than Dalvia, but he was the same era type, so to speak, of stuff.
Here comes a theoretical question for Ed.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I get
I
them
mean,
once in
yeah.
a blue moon. Is the realms too overloaded, perfect on lore, or not? There's still a lot of holes that you need to fill after all this time.
Oh boy.
Good
there
one.
are
Yep.
there are still a lot of holes.
Okay.
You think of it as, oh my gosh, there's so much there. And I used to hear this. Oh, there's nothing left for my player characters to do. Everything's been done. There's these big NPCs swaggering around in the way. Um, there's no room for adventure. And the thing is, when you look at the setting, everything is skin deep in most places.
Right.
It's not as deep.
Right.
And now, there are people who prefer their gaming style. They want the world to be to give them a lot of a blank slate to write stuff, and they are going to be displeased with what we've done with the realms inevitably, because it has been more and more detailed, and I've spent my life detailing it further, and I still work on it every day. And so if you want your world to have a lot more elbow room and less detail, yeah, you're going to be displeased with the realms. I can live with that, because there are many, many, many worlds out there. I mean, there didn't used to be, but now that in our brand new golden age of being able to publish anywhere, anything, there are tons and tons of fantasy settings out there that are skin deep.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that when I've spent 3.5 years and I'm still in the middle of it, detailing Viking rural Dublin for the
Right.
and I'm still doing it, I'm giving you, okay, here's what happens when you go deep. You don't have to, but if you want it, somebody else, this crazy guy, has done the scut work, so you don't have to. So you can just come along and pick it up and take it and use it.
Yeah.
And I make no apologies for super detailing the realms. And I know that, like, Eric Boyd and George Krashos, if they're listening to this podcast, they and many others have done stalwart service over the years, explaining away inconsistencies, deepening the lore, because we love this stuff. We love the
Yep.
setting. We want it to feel alive. We want it to feel real.
I agree. I agree.
Uh,
That's how I want mine to feel.
yeah, and we don't think we're tying your hands by super detailing something. It's not a bug, it's a feature. We're giving you more ideas, more opportunities. You can change everything at your home gaming table. We
Yeah.
don't care. That's not going to bother us. But we're trying to present a unified, super detailed setting for everybody else who wants a unified, super detailed setting.
Mhm. And th- awesome. I love every word of it. But it's also interesting to see that when you world build for either for commercial products, but especially for your
Yep.
DM and your own game, there are multiple dimensions. You talk about depth, and a lot of fantasy worlds own the skin deep, and it's interesting because depth is one. You can go detailed. You can go and detail every building or whatever, but you can also spread out. You can, instead of detailing one city more, you can invent another city and another kingdom, and so on and so forth. But you can also then work in the time dimension. You can then develop, okay, how did we get here? That's one dimension. And then you can move forward. What are happening? Who is brewing? What cults are being made? What dragons are being born, etc. So you have these multiple dimensions you can work with. You can go deeper, both literally, meaning dig down in the ground and create an underworld, but figuratively, you create deeper and more intricate lore, and all these people that live in a city, and the guilds are fighting, and etc. You go that way, or you invent more cities and kingdoms, or you go history wise, or you go up in the air, or whatever. So so you have so many dimensions that you can play with and that you can work with as a DM and as a storyteller. And a lot of times, I think a lot of DMs, they tend to fall into, I think, one or two traps. You either just push the story relentlessly forward, or you say, we go to play here. This is the world, and we play here, and nothing changes. And I think you, as a DM, the time dimension is a tool you should use wisely, but you should not. You should definitely use it, so to speak.
So
Yeah.
and I had that problem when I was younger that I moved
Yeah.
years way too fast.
Yep.
I moved
Oh
them way.
yeah.
I've really slowed them down, especially
Yep.
with so many different characters, so many different groups. That I don't want groups like sitting around for 2 years. Oh, I haven't, you know what I mean? So I've really
Mhm.
slowed the timeline down
Yep.
in my game.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Chico, it's starting to cool off a little bit, so he wants to hide under the blanket. That's
Uh,
his evening
that's
behavior.
that's
So,
so
yep.
funny.
Hmm.
That's so funny.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so it's 8:31. Are we ready for the Greyhawk lore drop?
Yes.
Oh my. Oh yeah, I kept you waiting, didn't I? Well,
That's
okay.
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 Yes. Here we go.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
Right. Well now, let's do this. Sorel Drath Ondalar, a new dragon for the Greyhawk setting. I'm gonna spell this, okay?
Yes.
Tzereldratondlar, and it's pronounced Zoreldrath Ondalar.
My South Jersey
Right.
accent. I'm gonna hack that apart, but that's
Sure,
good.
of
Yeah.
course. Well, okay, look. She doesn't go around writing her names on like
Right.
washroom walls, so you can spell it any way you want.
Cool.
Anyway, okay, here we go. A quiet moneylender. Few in the free city of Greyhawk have heard of Zareldra of the Trades, unless they have need of coin, for she keeps to herself. She dwells in the slum quarter, in rented upper rooms reached by steep stairs, behind a shabby but stout, unlabeled old wooden door, just east of the shop front of Marigo's Cheeses and Sausages. That shop and her door share the second building west of the water on the north side of Killcat Lane, where it meets Meyer Street, not far south of Black Wall, and 3 buildings east of S3 on the Malden map.
So he's put it down exactly.
Wow.
Wow.
Awesome.
On the Malden map too.
Is there a
Holy.
Meyer Street there? No,
Yeah, there
you
is.
invented that. Oh, there is?
I think there is. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
okay,
wow. Mayer Street. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Got it.
Dal Marigo and his family live on the floor between the shop and Zareldra's rooms. Like she rooms above them, they room above the shop, she rooms above them.
Mhm.
The few who mount those dark, unwelcoming stairs do so because they seek her services as a moneylender. Zareldra is a large, and by that I mean tall, broad-shouldered, and buxom, steel gray-haired, shoulder blade length. All her hair is the same shining steely hue, and she wears it unbound. Dignified and refined-looking woman who dresses in fine mantles over ankle-length gowns, with boots, and in cold weather, gloves. She lives alone and quietly, though there are rumors in the streets around that she's not unprotected, with various tales of guardian monsters or gliding ghosts or magical traps. Zareldra loans small sums, at fair or even generous rates, to shopkeepers and small merchant traders, many of whom see her as vital lifeblood that keeps us in business when times are lean or payments are slow. At any one time, she may have 60 or 70 loans out, some of them paltry indeed, a matter of feeding the family for a week or making rent this month. And by now, much of the city south of the Black Wall knows of her existence, though no more than about 300 individuals in all have ever taken loans from her. Some have taken and repaid many. Thrice her rooms have been ransacked when she was absent. Nothing has ever been found but a simple bed, a table, chair and tea fixings, a wardrobe of fine clothing, and some rather bad paintings of buildings and landscapes that may be the work of Zazeldra herself, or perhaps given to her in payment by a debtor who fooled themselves into thinking they were artistic. There was not a coin to be seen in the place, even though when walls and floorboards were assaulted. The intruders, by the way, have since vanished, though if she was the cause, she's given no sign of it. Every week or so, Zareldra vanishes on trips that last half a week or more, then returns with not a word about where she's been, beyond a smiling one-time answer, "Oh, I like to see the world."
Mhm.
Neighbors say she sounds educated when she speaks, is always clean and tidy, never seems to hurry, and is likely seen over 50 winters, perhaps more than 60. She seems quite content to dwell alone, and she never makes mention of any kin. The truth about Zareldra. The truth? Zareldra Honsalar, I'll spell the first and last name she goes by, T-Z-A-R-E-L-D-R-A, Honthallar, Zareldra Honsalar, is the human form of Zareldrath Ondalar, blah, blah, a Greyhawk dragon, a steel dragon, and her trips are for food hunting, usually flying east beyond the mist marsh to prey on various wild herds, though she has been known to devastate ranches on rare occasions. She busies herself supporting the mercantile underclass of the Free City with small loans, and when folk default, usually takes property or goods in lieu of repayment, but arranges matters so the debtor can continue operating. She's dedicated to making the city work. The same desire is behind her occasional personal and private consultations with various oligarchs of the city's directorate to suggest policies or how disputes might be handled. These are always couched as concerned advice, never as or else threats, or that such and such should or must be done. She recently decided to take a soulbound for the first time. A Free City resident, shy female human wizard named Chelsra Nebrand, C-Z-H-E-L-S-R-A, N-A-E-B-R-A-N-D, Chelsra Nebrand. She'd grown fond of and close to, but was just about to reveal her true nature to Chelsra and make the offer of bonding when Chelsra disappeared, magically snatched away by a rival wizard, the necromancer Reldro Tanthan. Zeldra has now temporarily set aside the life plan she was pursuing to devote herself to finding and safely recovering Chelsra, using hired adventuring bands as decoys to distract Reldro from her pursuit. She's not sure if the necromancer is aware of her draconic nature. Initially, Tansen seems to have gone into hiding in the Free City in a building he owned in the northeasternmost thieves' quarter, but he now seems to have fled the city, heading first to Chendel and Furiondi, then on to unknown destinations, perhaps divers, or perhaps the City of Sails is only a diversion, a false destination. Zereldra life plans, as she calls them, the interests that give her life its central purpose, are to keep the free city of Greyhawk independent of the rule of any king, emperor, or despot, to thwart the Scarlet Brotherhood's covert attempts to rule the city from behind the scenes, and to make conditions favorable for wild herds of meat beasts to flourish and multiply in the lands around, so she and her kind can find abundant food easily, and so residents of the city will enjoy low food prices. She also guards against any attempts by Auz to gain greater influence in the free city of Greyhawk. Unusually for her kind, Zareldrath has not taken a mate or produced offspring for almost a century. Her last mate and the wormling she raised with him were destroyed by cruel toying spells cast by Zagig Yglarn, then Lord Mayor of the city, now the demigod Zagig. It's not known if she's still grieving, or just not seeking a mate yet, or if this disaster led her to shun mating for a time, or forever. Elminster believes her current moneylender human guise is only the third successive life in her chain of life to dwell in the Free City, but is uncertain where on earth she dwelt before then. So far as Elminster can tell, Zareldra is aware of the presence, guises, and major deeds of the 3 or more other Greyhawk dragons resident in the Free City, but that all of these steelworms tend to ignore each other. They are distantly friendly, however, and in at least 2 instances, a direct attack on one has brought the others swiftly to its aid. How Zareldra is regarded. Warren's Starcoat of this Circle of 8 has called Zareldra the secret shield of Greyhawk, and Elminster knows her as guardian of at least 2 hidden gates, portals, linking rooms in buildings in the Free City with rooms in the Sword Coast city of Athkatla, capital of the land of Om, in the realms. By guardian, El means that she keeps these ways closed, opening them for travel only by beings she approves of, who are rare indeed. Elminster himself is one of them, but she questioned him sharply as to his reasons for entering Orth, and approved of the true reason he gave, returning a mind-healed Mordenkainen into one of his early mansions, accompanying him to make sure that the house was safe for the mage's return for a time of recuperation ere Mordenkainen returned to the more dangerous dimensionally traveling Tower of Erm. El made a telling point to her that if she kept the gates closed, he'd simply enter Orth by other means, as he had many times before. El himself approves of Zareldra as a protector and stabilizer, sorely needed in these times when so many rend, destroy, and agitate. Elminster believes the money Zareldra lends comes from her own hoard, but has no idea where and how she hides it. He suspects, however, that a gate is involved, perhaps one with a door that most travelers open to pass from one world into another, but that a few who know the deeper secret of how to pass through the surface of the door itself open the door wide and then pass through it into a sideways cavern or dungeon network in which the steel dragon may keep guardian beasts, traps, and her hoard. Her composition is likely hidden and guarded in this or another safehold, for there was no sign of it in her rented slum quarter rooms when they were ransacked. Zareldra and magic. She doesn't seem to use much magic daily, so far as Elminster could tell, though she has some magical means, perhaps a worn item, that shields her against bladed weapon attacks, and reflects hostile spells cast at her back at their sources that protects her when she's dealing with borrowers in her rented city rooms. He notes that she likely uses magic to transport agreed-upon sums from elsewhere, her hoard, to atop a table in a side room of her lodgings, as the table stands empty before visitors arrive, but has the funds she's lending them neatly ensacked upon it when negotiations are done. He added that any comment I might make as to enchanted items, potions, or scrolls in her hoard would be no more than unsupported speculation on my part. Zereldra and the Realms. Zereldra has admitted to Elminster that she visited Toril just once, to ensure that one of the gates she'd identified in the free city of Greyhawk could be safely traversed, and to see what awaited at the other end. Arriving at night in a stretch of hot summer, she didn't like the stink and grandiose crowding of what she saw of Athkatla, but thought the moonlit mountains beyond looked beautiful. These must have been the nearest range of the Cloud Peaks. Their beauty did not, however, entice her to explore them or tarry longer in the realms. And there you have it.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's really
Fantastic. Yep.
Oh, and look, more gates for our little.
cool. Yes, that was perfect. More gates, absolutely, and then
Yep.
give us some more discussion on those, and then we'll. And as always, Ed has always been kind enough to allow me to we've done one, and we'll continue to do more. We'll put them in Visions and Grey Grimoire, which
Yep.
would be, which would be really so that everyone will get them out in an article. So, oh, that's really cool, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to send you the file.
Yeah, definitely. So a gray. I'm glad you used the Greyhawk Dragon. That's cool.
Hey.
Yeah, there's
How
not
could
enough.
I not?
There's
They're
not
so fun.
Yeah, there's not enough. There's not enough noted in lore. I can only think of 3. There's Estrella. There's Hutton and Mask. Right. There is what's his name? Moab, the one that's in the Falcon series.
Yeah.
And Eric Boyd gave us one. That is it Ironblood? Is his last name?
Okay.
Yeah, Ironblood. Orvis Ironblood or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, there are 2 mentioned as resident in the free city of Greyhawk. So I immediately, when I was writing, said 3 or more, because old dungeon master builds in elbow room.
It's they were both awesome, Ed. Thank you so very much for doing that.
My
Yep.
pleasure.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, really, really cool. So, what questions does the audience have? I know. Oh, Rob had a question. Let me go back. Phantom Ninja had a question. He was saying something about given that 150 years have passed between 1E and 5E in the realms, how much work was done to keep the rest of the realms outside of the Sword Coast and adjacent areas up to date,
Huh?
like lore wise? As things changed, was everything a new book came out, was all up converted, I guess is what the question was it converted edition wise? Is that the question, Rob? Yeah, I don't know if it needs to be done in a setting book. So
You see, here's the thing. As a freelancer, I wasn't dealing with the rules per se at that point. I was
Okay.
just feeding raw
Got it.
lore, and Jeff Grubb was turning it into the current edition of the game when we launched the realms. And Karen Martin, as she was then, Karen Boomgarden, Karen Conlon as she is now, was writing herd on our grammar and making sure that what we said was clear to the reader, the meanings of it. And she would ask pointed questions. Well, you say this here. I mean, if you say something is something of a level, the game uses level for this, but there's also a physical level, and there's also a character class level. What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Mhm.
So she would iron out all of those things to make sure that we were clear about what we were saying. So, in terms of since then, yes, as TSR and Wizards of the Coast have jumped the timeline forward, or gnawed it forward year by year as we've released products, I have written the history of all the NPCs, what's going on around the edges, and so have other people. The moment other people were working in the realms, in both novels and in adventures, and including the RPGA and now the Adventurers League, where they were like telling us what went on in these other kingdoms so that the world feels alive. So I have been updating it constantly. And of course, when you jump it ahead 100 years, and I discover this all the time now, you look at the noble families of Cormyr or Waterdeep or anywhere else, and you say, unless they're all chugging longevity potions, they're all dead. So
Right.
I'm dealing with their grandchildren or their children or their great grandchildren or however, however quick they've been to get wed and have heirs. Um, that's how many generations down the line. So I am updating everything and I'm telling their stories to do so that the Dungeon Master has something to work with.
Yeah. Huh. Good question. Anyone else with any questions for Ed? We got some time here still.
Yeah.
I always just look back and always say, man, the early days, Greyhawk was so wide open, and it was always make Greyhawk your own, right? And then there were opportunities I missed. There were opportunities I took on, and it's like, wow, I can go run this direction with this because there's this little tidbit of information here, and it can run and develop it there. But always it was like, how far do you go without screwing up the works? And then a new publication comes out, and you're like, I'm screwed. You know, and it almost happened from the ashes for me. You know, it almost did, but it was like, okay, we'll figure out how to incorporate this. So the question: Did Danilo become a Lord of Waterdeep?
Danilo Than.
Danilo, sorry.
Yes, I believe he did. Now there's a difference. There's open lord and there's mass lord, and you can resign at any time, or you can be pushed out, or you can be assassinated. And I do not think Danilo served for long. I'm trying to remember lore here that I didn't write. Okay, so but I think that's how it stands in lore.
Yeah. Well, we have Asher the Bear. Yeah, I have a question. Is there push for more non-human rulers in Forgotten Realms in the latest edition and lately,
like
or
they wanted to do for Greyhawk?
Yeah,
I believe there is a push. At the company, and that's totally okay.
yeah,
What I want them to do, though, if they're going to go ahead and do that, is, okay, I need you to do the heavy-duty design work of what are the cultures, the existing cultures of these non-humans, so that you have a past and heritage for the characters who are in front of you now. Don't just say, oh, it's an orc. Oh, and by the way, orcs are philosophers. It's like, no. Tell me about all the tribes of orcs. Tell me about, are they run by matriarchs? Are they run by councils? How do they celebrate their family traditions? Do they write stuff down in family histories, or do they chant like bards and say, Orgod, son of Tusk, who was valorous at the battle of so and so, and they can chant these from memory around a fireside? What is it? I don't mind what way they zig or zag. I just want to know what it is. And if you haven't done that, don't willy-nilly don't have an artist paint a genie and say, oh, by the way, this city is ruled by genies. Okay, how? Oh, never mind that.
Right.
Or even worse, oh, genies have a Senate and a Congress, and you vote for them, and you go, you haven't done any work. You see what I mean? I need the fact that you are of something other than human to matter, to mean something.
Right.
Yep.
Why? Yeah.
Don't just put window dressing on something for the sake of putting window dressing on it. Give me something that is different, interesting, gives me play opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
so that I go, oh, this is really cool. This is what a fantasy role-playing game can add to our um,
Yep.
experience. This is what makes a fantasy role-playing game special. I've got something cool here. I need I need that to be otherwise it's like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it just to be trendy or politically correct or whatever? Give me something that matters. Give me something where I go, this is really cool. This is something that this edition of the game added. Oh, I'm going to use this. And if it doesn't catch fire in my inspiration, in my mind, why did you do it? Why did you make a change? Don't make it, it's the old, is it change for the sake of change, or is it adding something to the game? Add something to the game. And in this case, I want to see um, designers, official designers for the game, to give me a culture for orcs, to give me a culture for gnolls that is different from orcs, to give me a culture for hobgoblins, goblins, whatever. I need. What are the kobolds like? Are they the
Right.
dog-like creatures? Are they the creatures that could play dead
Mm-hmm.
in earlier editions? Answer this
Pig
definitively.
faced. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me these things,
Yep.
because don't just say, "Oh yeah, well, to have the artist painted this," and then just leave it. And then worst of all, then say, "Oh, it's up to the dungeon master." Cop out. You're selling them a product they are putting down good money for. Give them the basic guidance. You can still leave them tons of room to do what they want in their campaign, but give them guidance to work from. That's just the basics. It's like making sure when I sell you a car, it's got wheels, you know?
Right.
And it that's
Yep,
the
yep,
one thing that really bugs me when people say, "Oh, yes, well, we needed to be enlightened, so we did this." And I said, "Okay." And the consequences of doing that are I need to know this, this, and this about the heritage of this new race, or this race that's not new, but you have now made them a player character race. So I now need more depth. Oh, well, we wouldn't want to restrict what people want to do at their gaming table. That's really nice. And that's a catch-all excuse you can use for anything in the game. Please don't use it again here because I'm paying money for this product. Do the work. Give me something that makes my game cooler. And if you do that, I'm prepared to swallow almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to know what makes Titans different from
right.
Giants.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of stuff from way back there. Still don't have a satisfactory answer. Now, Chris Perkins did a really good job in Storm King's Thunder of codifying everything that had been in the game before to give us, okay, this is how giants work as a society. These are the differences. So the different types of giants are actually different from each other. And I'm reading this going, yes, thank
Mhm.
you, Chris. When I'm reading the product, because he's giving me something meaty that will change my game forever if I want it to, change the realms, and I'm happy because it's a whole new world he's opened up here. That's what I need them to do whenever they move to non-humans. I have nothing against non-humans, but do the work. Do the basic design work. And if you can't or won't, don't take that step. Say
Yep.
we're not ready yet.
So let's see here. One last thing. Dewey Carthon Rick Miller says, not so much a question, but a topic. Idea mythals in the world of Greyhawk. Ed and I had a discussion at Origins about the twin cataclysms being similar to reverse mythals. Hmm.
Yeah. There's one way to find out for sure. Have your player characters adventure and discover, which is a cheapy way of saying we're going to have to talk about more about this at GaryCon. And when we're not attending funerals, unfortunately,
Yeah, I
one more
know.
time, then and not discussing what we're going to do for our seminar, we need to discuss what we're going to do in our lives in the months ahead,
Mm-hmm.
assuming we have any life and month ahead for us. We have to like go ahead and what's down the road. And one of the things that being down the road is to settle this, like decide. Great power, great responsibility. All the,
Mm-hmm.
the sayings.
All the fun
Yep.
things. Yeah, absolutely. Not feeling like crap all the time, though, Ed, right?
Ah, yes. Well, that's part of being old.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me
And
about it.
and I hate to say it, we are getting old. I've been faking it with this clever disguise of white hair for years. Because, guess what, guys? I had white hair when I was in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah, I will say it allowed me to buy liquor and get into. Never mind. Did I say that out loud? Oh dear. Uh, at a much younger age than I should have, and it has marked me for life. No, but yeah, as we get older, these things afflict us, and it drives home one more time that we don't have endless time on this planet. So if you want to design something, folks, if you want to create something for your D&D game or any other game, do it now. Do not
Mhm.
wait.
Yep.
Because there will come a day when it's too late. There will come a day when you said, "Darn, I wanted to get this done, but I never got
Yeah.
off my patoot."
Yep.
So
Mhm.
do it now.
Great, great poetic.
Well, how
Take it to
cheery,
heart.
I know.
Take it to heart. So, alrighty. I know there's a lot of questions flowing in, but we're getting close to time. And Ed, Ann, and I got to meet after this and talk real quick about our seminar. So
You
yeah,
Americans, you
I,
mustn't practice beforehand. It ruins the fun.
yes,
Mhm. You should just
definitely.
go with it. Yep.
Just so we know what to bring and
I
all.
know. I'm
Yeah,
just
we just
teasing you.
because we had a great one last year on
We
maps.
didn't plan one bit, so yeah.
Oh,
There you
last
go.
year on maps we had the maps at least that we showed,
Well,
right?
that was yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did show them. So yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, um, let's see here. Yeah, we all need to retire from our day jobs. I got 4 years to go there.
Mhm.
Drag your hair. It's yeah, 4 years, less than 4 years. One day short of 4 years now. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting a pension now. I'm
Oh,
still working every day, but I'm
oh,
getting pension.
really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's so tiny that you get to choose the flavor of dog food you're going to live on for the rest of your life. So, um, yeah, those of you who are thinking you're going to retire and you're going to live like a king on your pension,
Mm-mm.
not unless you have invested wisely and otherwise diddled the stock market. Because no. Anyway,
No, no. You got to have some fortune to be lucky a little here and there, with stuff. So
yeah. And don't take that to mean you have to rush off to Vegas. That is not the sort of game
no,
talking.
it doesn't work. It doesn't. That's a shortcut. Yeah, that's not the way it wants to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, if I quit that job in 4 years, I'll be able to maybe add a stream a week. Instead of doing 3.5, I can do 4.5 or 5.
And
Be a
your
little
wife
easier.
will kill you. No.
No, she'll still be working. She's younger than me, so.
Oh, Jay, you rogue, you. Okay.
Yes, for a couple
So,
years, just for a couple. We've already had this talk.
oh, good,
But yeah, we have. We've already
good,
had this
good,
talk.
good, good.
Yeah.
That is the wisest thing.
Yeah.
Everybody listen to Jay's wisdom. Have the talk. Do not spring this on your life.
No. We've had that discussion a couple times. So luckily I get to work in my retirement doing what I love. Yes, and that's it, Mike. Absolutely. It's just it's part of life. Everyone makes decisions and you live with them. And you do your best. So that was so great discussion. My gosh, some deep thoughts there early on, and then some really great lore pieces, and that hopefully there'll be more to come always in the future, because Ed always is very kind with his time. We really do appreciate it. So I'm going to forego shout outs this week because
Oh
I
yeah,
don't have
we
any
have Wednesday.
banners.
Yeah, we
I
have
don't have
Wednesday.
any banners
So,
done. We don't even have a topic for Wednesday yet, so it's just
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll think about that, Annex. I came up with the last one, and Mike came up with the one before it. So there.
Oh,
there
it's
you
my
go.
turn. Oh,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
happens then. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's why they don't
Oh.
let me pick topics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now is this a
Yeah.
in-world topic or just a
Yeah.
topic?
Legends of Lore is all these deep
Oh.
Greyhawk lore stuff.
Yeah,
or-
then we
yeah.
try to go in
Got it.
and stuff.
We
Yeah.
try and
Got
go
it.
into that on Wednesday nights.
Because you see, the easy real-world topic is surviving GaryCon.
Mhm. Yeah.
A week from Sunday is the GaryCon Prelude show. So we'll talk about, how to try to have some people on and all. And then Wednesday at GaryCon's that kickoff show I have every year of trying to bring in like 40 people, So Greyhawk Dragons at Greyhawk, yeah. 7 Wonders at Greyhawk. I don't even know what they are, Gary. Are there 7
Oh,
wonders
you
of
have
Greyhawk?
to be supposed to come up with them. I think that's the topic. Yeah.
There is one out on the internet that has done that.
Yeah, there's some. I think Mike have done it for Mike Bridges have done it. I think. Yeah.
I don't know what they are. I know there's a lot of art. I know there's a lot of what do you call it, artifacts, but I don't know. Are they? Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
Gary.
but-
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that, and I can chill out on that one a little bit. And just send me the stuff, man. Send me some ideas. That would be cool. Always looking for some ones there. So Ed, what else? What do you got going on now? I know, but so much, right?
Let me just very quickly say, I am up to stuff with Linvander Studios. I am up to stuff with GUI Cube.
Right.
I am up to stuff with a brand new setting that I don't want to
Oh,
do damage to. I'm talking about it. That's some friends of mine are proposing.
wow.
I am, yeah. And there's lots of other things. My to-do list. I discovered, so as not to forget stuff, I just put all the icons down the desktop here, and I have this giant monitor, and it is just overloaded with. Oh, there's a book about matters dark and grim and bony. There's a thing I'm doing with a devoted fan on Thay. There's a thing I'm doing. Oh, I shouldn't say more.
It's good stuff, though. Wow.
Yeah, it never ends because when it ends, I will be dead, and I don't want to die.
No.
I've got so much stuff to write.
No, definitely not. Yeah, that's great to hear, Ed. And we always appreciate all your time.
Hey,
Thank
no
you so
problem.
very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk all over Anna, and I think she's
No,
gonna
this
kill
is
me
awesome.
someday.
No, this
No.
is awesome. I love it. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll try. We're gonna we're gonna see if we can get Ed there for multiple sessions. Maybe have Ed as the third co-host. For that Wednesday, that'd be great. And just hang out and see who comes in, ask them questions and all. I think it would be a fun time on that Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's up to you, Ed. I mean, I'd love to have you, me, and Anna just sitting there hanging out with everyone.
I know I have to do something for the Incarnate tournament.
Okay.
But beyond that, sure, happy to.
We'll see. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. And if you got to bolt out or whatever at any point, that's not a problem. Or come in late, doesn't matter. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do the giveaways, and then this will remember to ask Ed for a picture. Rob, you did not get a picture of Ed. How could you not have gotten a picture of Ed? He massaged everyone's back last year. How did you not get a picture with him? Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, Rob. All right, let's call exclamation point drawing. We're just doing two $10 gift certificates for Troller Games tonight because I got so much I gotta send out. So I'm still going through the fundraiser, sponsor stuff. It's just making my life a lot easier. All the other stuff that's going out. Yep. So exclamation point drawing. We'll give you two, and they'll come over tonight to the two winners because I have them. So that's not going to be a problem. And we're going to raid into Darling, like we always do on Sundays. I think they have a finale of one of their games are doing now coming up, so that'd be nice. So Ed, Ed, your game, as everyone's putting in stuff here, has where is it? I got too many piles of stuff here too. I got too much, man. Too much in the way of.
You have too many piles.
I got too many piles here. I got way too many piles of what. Here it is, the Deadly Challenge. So we have. Darling is playing Rosie, right? Her halfling thief, and Eric's playing Talawick, his halfling guardian. Ed, you're playing Revelantar. Tony's playing Nixolia. Jeremy's playing Rylan Helmsplitter, his dwarf priest of Clangeddon. Chuck is playing Robert de Crayon again, his crusader. And I have the three people who got in: Joshua Haley, Brian Danger Jagusak, and Steve Fritzma are the three that got in. And I got to figure out their characters, for it. So, what edition is?
A lineup like that, I'm already scared. What are you gonna throw at us to keep all those guys?
Oh, dude, it's bad. And the terrain's unbelievable. There's the archery school at you'll see. It's huge. It's Jeremy from Gamescape. The whole adventure takes place in Altamira.
Oh.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
the city.
In the city.
Oh boy, I can
Mhm.
see inferior desecration. I mean, interior
Yes.
decoration occurring everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve's a good player too. Yeah, absolutely. And I got to reach out to them and just. But I'm trying to get everything else done, man, with all the other things going on. We'll get that. We'll get that going.
Mhm.
All right, here
I
we
know
go.
that feeling.
Yeah. And then getting all the minis, getting all all that done, all the screens written up and all. And I'm printing the. So for Tower Gygax, I already know I'm ready to roll for that, but I'm not using the pre-gens that they provide. I think I told you that. I'm using my characters and my campaign with some of my offshoot. I already got a little bit here and there. It'll be 1E, but it'll be with that 2E flare. Ed, you mostly play 1E still. What do you play most of when you play? Is there,
Second edition.
you play
Most of the time.
2E. 2E. Okay.
Yeah, but I play a lot of 5e when I'm at conventions because the
That's
younger
the game.
gamers, that's
Yeah.
all they know.
Absolutely.
Curtis, if you're still listening,
Yes, sir.
I will use your pre-gens. I
Yeah.
will use your pre-gens for Tower of Gygax, because it's not about killing people. Oh, yes, it is.
So Ravalantar fortunately was not at the Tickling Feather during the incident a week and a half ago when we did It Burns When I Fungi adventure, Ed. So, yes.
It burns when I fungi.
Fungi. It was it was a, yeah. It was really it got really
Jay.
depraved.
It
What?
was all in the
Yeah.
in the name of donating to a good cause.
Well, no,
Yep.
that was post.
Oh, that was true. That was post.
Yeah,
Yes, that
no.
was. Yeah.
So it was
Right.
As in, we'll fix it in post.
yeah.
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 Mhm. Yep.
Thanks, Shred. It was a fungal queen who was disguised as a
I
madam.
think I went through high school with it.
That's exactly it. You would have had fun with it. It was a blast. So, all right, here we go. Let's see who the two winners are. Then we're gonna rate the Darling, and we'll see you on Wednesday. A couple days off here. First winner, Jeremy Asterlier. Grats. Kai Brightwing. Grats. Okay, I'll be sending them
Awesome.
out. I'll be sending them out shortly. Thank you all. Keep in touch. We'll go over a lot of stuff on next Sundays, as much as we can about what we know about Gary Con then. But we'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday this week. And we'll continue Karen of the Skeleton King by Robert Kuntz, which I started last week. We'll continue it out on Thursday. And maybe we'll do that 7 Wonders of Greyhawk. It's a great topic. So thank you all for great one. And thank you. And Ed, always, man, it's always an honor.
Thank you.
We're humbled that you come on. And
Oh, come on! I'm just a guy.
I know, man, and you're a good friend, and it's awesome. And we're gonna have fun. We're gonna be hanging out every night where we are every night at Gary Con, in that back bar, just like we were every single. Yeah.
I need to bring earplugs. That bar gets so noisy.
It does. But just don't be up till 4 or 5 in the morning talking to Curtis again. Like, oh my gosh.
I had to.
Oh my gosh.
My room was in use. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. You heard it here first, everyone. So there you go. Wow. Okay. All right. I'll see you all Wednesday. Wow. La 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 la. Raid. Raiding in the Darling here. Let's see if we can go over 115. That would be awesome. Yeah, this is a Ravenloft Adventure finale they're doing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, second edition. Beautiful. 106. Awesome. 108. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday. Thank you.
And out of the mists.
Yes.
Yep. It popped over. Yep.
All right, very cool. Let me shut this off. So